Put your hands together as I hand over the microphone to the chairman of session, Mrs. Funlola Odunlami. A round of applause for her, please.
Some of us here, or maybe our children, or other women or people we know, are exposed to mental, physical, or emotional risk or abuse because of what they've gone through or what they're going through. And quite a number of these people believe that they don't have any defense, or their case is hopeless, or there's nothing they can do. So they stay in those situations. But this morning, our speakers here will let us know, as women, mothers, that we have hope. We are not totally hopeless. The Lagos State government, and there are some other NGOs too, have given us avenues to give us hope, to provide hope for us, so that when, or if we are in that situation, we can go out to those agencies or those places and get help or succor. So without much ado, I'll hand over to the first speaker, who is going to speak about the women aspect of it, while the second speaker will speak about the children aspect of it. I'm sure this is going to be an explosive session. I just hope that you listen and make you good use of whatever you learn from this. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, First Lady of Lagos State, with your kind permission, Ma, may I stand on all existing protocols? And also another permission, prayer, that I speak in the language that I know how to do my work most. In Yoruba, in Pidgin, in any language, as the Holy Spirit directs. I get your permission, Ma? Thank you. Ẹ káàárọ̀ ẹ̀yin ìyá mi. Mi ò gbọ́ yín. Ẹ káàárọ̀. Ẹ̀yin àǹtí mi mo ní ẹ káàárọ̀. First Lady mo ní ẹ káàárọ̀. Tell the person sitting near you, tell like, neighbor, you see today, people say that I'm vulnerable, but I am defenseless. But I know that before I leave here today, I am not going to be vulnerable anymore. I know how to fight for my rights. Yes, so, ṣé mo pa tí ń jẹun látàárọ̀? A máa dúró, a máa mì díẹ̀, 1 minute nítorí ìṣẹ́jú mi ò pọ̀. Orin tí fẹ́ kọ yìí, ó ní ṣe pẹ̀lú nǹkan tá a wá ṣe láàárọ̀ yìí. Nítorí wọ́n sọ pé ìjìyà abẹ́lé. Ẹ mọ nǹkan tó ń pè ní ìjìyà abẹ́lé? Domestic violence. Oríṣiríṣi ìyà tó ń jẹ obìnrin. Bóyá nínú ilé ni o, bóyá níbi iṣẹ́ ni o, níbi òwò ni o, anywhere. That all the kind of challenges women are going through, where do you go to find help? Where do you go to find succor? Ibo ni ọ̀nà àbáyọ wà, òun la ṣe wà ń bẹ̀ níbí báyìí láàárọ̀ yìí. Gbogbo ẹ̀ la máa bá yín sọ. Ṣé rí ó yẹ ká kọ́kọ́ ṣe fídíò kékeré kan, àmọ́ àwọn technical wa wọ́n bá wa ṣe, àyè máa gbé sí. Àmọ́ kíyẹn tó bẹ̀rẹ̀. A ní àwọn nǹkan kan bí ṣe sọ ẹ máa dìde o, ẹ máa bá mi kọrin kékeré yìí. Ẹ̀yin obìnrin rere ẹ̀yin dà. Good women in the house, where are you? Say hi, say ho. Mo ní wọ́n fẹ́ fi ìyà jẹ mí nítorí wọ́n jù mí lọ. Mo lé ó lè fi ìyà jẹ mí gbẹ̀ngbẹ̀ nítorí ó jù mí lọ. Kò sẹ́ni tó lè fi ìyà jẹ mí kó lọ o. Lórí ìjókòó, kò sẹ́ni tó lè fi ìyà jẹ mí. Mo ní kò sẹ́ni tó lè fi ìyà jẹ mí kó lọ o. Kò sẹ́ni tó lè fi ìyà jẹ mí. Ní Èkó yìí, kò sẹ́ni tó lè fi ìyà jẹ mí kó lọ o.
Yeah. Greet me first.
Good morning, sir. Good
What
morning,
do you mean?
sir.
Where are you coming from?
I went to see my brother.
Told you which brother? Did you tell me before you left the
My
home?
older brother
What do you
now.
mean?
Security. Hello. Sorry, breaking transmission, ma. First lady says we should come upstairs and re-demonstrate it, so that everybody can see. Kò sẹ́ni tó lè fìyà jẹ mí. Ijó yín dà. Kò sẹ́ni tó lè fìyà jẹ mí. Àmì ò rí ijó yín o. Kò sẹ́ni tó lè fìyà jẹ mí kó lọ o. Kò sẹ́ni tó lè fìyà.
Good morning, sir.
What is good in the morning? Tell me where you're coming from. Just tell me now.
I went to my brother's house.
Who gave you permission?
Please don't kill me.
I will kill you.
Don't kill me.
You're a useless woman.
Don't kill me. Don't kill me. Please don't kill me. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. Sorry, ma.
Your safety bag. Ẹ̀yin obìnrin rere, are you in this house? Àní obìnrin rere láwa. Obìnrin rere láwa. À ń tọ́jú ọkọ wa, à ń tọ́jú ọmọ wa o. Obìnrin rere la. Àwa jẹ́ obìnrin rere. Bá ṣe jẹ́ obìnrin rere tó, ó ṣe wá jẹ́ pé àwa gan-an fi ìyà yẹn jẹ. Pẹ̀lú bá ṣe ń tọ́jú ọkọ, tá à ń tọ́jú ọmọ, tá à ń tọ́jú ilé, tìtorí ẹ̀ la ṣe wà lénìí. Ọ̀nà àbáyọ. Ṣé wá ní gbogbo nǹkan tá a máa sọ lénìí? A sọ pé kẹ́ fi ilé ọkọ yín sílẹ̀ o. Kò ń ṣe pé a fẹ́ da ilé yín rú o. A fẹ́ sọ pé ọ̀nà àbáyọ kó ní má bàa ṣe kí ni kó má bàa fọ́ká síbẹ̀. Kí ni mo sọ? Kó ní má bàa fọ́ká síbẹ̀. Torí bá fọ́ká síbẹ̀ ta ló máa tọ́jú àwọn ọmọ? Ẹ dá mi lóhùn. Kò sí bá ṣe máa tọ́jú ara wa, tá máa dáàbò bo ara wa, tá máa tọ́jú àwọn ọmọ wa. Òun ni a ṣe wà mí báyìí láàárọ̀ yìí. Kí n tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ pépà mi kó tó gbé sórí àwòrán. Ṣé rí kíní yẹpẹrẹ play kékeré tó ṣe yẹn? A fi ń sọ fún àwọn obìnrin pé tó bá di ojú ẹ̀, when you get to the wall, when you are pushed to the wall, tó bá dé ojú ẹ̀ tó di kọ̀rọ̀ǹgì dáì pé òun láti du ẹ̀mí ẹ̀, kí ló máa ṣe? Ṣé nǹkan tí mo sọ ti yé yín? Kí ló máa ṣe? Tó bá gbé cartoon yẹn wá, ẹ̀yin máa rí. Àmọ́ ṣe rí nǹkan tẹ́ máa ṣe yẹn, ibi tó máa ti kọ́kọ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀. Wípé mi ò fẹ́ fi ilé mi sílẹ̀, mi ò fẹ́ kọ ọkọ mi, àmọ́ mò ń wá ìrànlọ́wọ́. Ìyẹn gangan. Kí wá ni mo lè ṣe? Òun la ṣe wà ń bí báyìí. Àkọ́kọ́ ibi tó ti ń bẹ̀rẹ̀ ni pé ṣé rí à ń sọ fáwọn obìnrin pé tẹ́ bá máa lọ, ní kẹ́ gbé portmanteau, don't carry your suitcase, because we don't want anybody saying you are the one tó fọwọ́ rẹ̀ kúrò ní ilé ọkọ ẹ̀. All you need is what? A safety bag. Kí ni mo sọ? Safety bag. Báàgì kékeré yìí, gbogbo àlà máa ń gba báàgì ní pàtí àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́? Ẹ dá mi lóhùn. Àmọ́ ńgbà tá a bá dé pàtí, ṣe mọ̀ tá a bá ti jàjẹ́ yóò ta dì lọ́lé tán. Ó ní nǹkan tí báàgì tún lè ṣe. Ó ti yé yín. Má dẹ̀ sọ nǹkan tí báàgì lè ṣe. Ṣé rí pé ó kéré? Àmọ́ gbogbo nǹkan tó wà náà ló wúlò ní last minute. Ìyẹn la wà lórí ẹ̀. Máa tú sílẹ̀ ní kọ̀ọ̀kan so that ní gbàgbé. Tẹ́ bá rí ẹni tí irú ẹ̀ ń ṣẹlẹ̀ sí, ní má gbàgbé safety net ẹ, má gbàgbé safety bag ẹ. Kí ni mo sọ? Mi ò gbọ́ yín. Mo mọ̀ pé ẹ fẹ́ mọ nǹkan tó wà náà, bẹ́ẹ̀ ni àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́? Gbogbo àwọn táwa mi bá tọkùnrin obìnrin àgbàlagbà ni wá, kò sí under age. Nǹkan kí nǹkan tó bá jáde nínú báàgì kò ń ṣe nǹkan tójú òrìrí. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́? Máa ṣí sílẹ̀ fún yín kọ̀ọ̀kan. Ṣé rí tó bá ti ń dojú ẹ̀? Ṣó yé yín? ṣé ẹ rí tó bá ti dojú ẹ̀ báyìí pé ẹni yẹn fẹ́ balance fún àsálà báàgì kékeré báyìí ó ti tó. Ṣé wá rí inú báàgì yẹn àwọn nǹkan tó máa wà nú ẹ̀ rè. Àkọ́kọ́ òun rèé kí ni mo mú yìí pàǹtì ẹyọ kan kí leléyìí ẹ ṣe tó bá ní passport kí leléyìí ẹ ṣe o kí leléyìí owó díẹ̀ ẹ jù sí kí leléyìí tútà kó wà nú ẹ̀ ìpara kó wà nú ẹ̀ tó bá ní certificate kódà kó jẹ́ primary six ni o PhD ni o tètè ya mú certificate yẹn kó jù sínú ẹ̀ ìwọ tó ò ní passport voters card jẹ́ wà ń bẹ̀ jù sínú ẹ̀ ẹ gbọ́ mi àbẹ́ ẹ gbọ́ mi aṣọ ẹyọ kan ó ti tó jù sínú ẹ̀ tó bá ní checkbook kí lẹ máa ṣe tó bá ní ATM card kí ló máa ṣe ò ṣe wá rí àwọn eléyìí èyí tó kù tẹ́mi gan òní òun ni pé evidence kí ni mo pè é àkọ́kọ́ ni pé tí photograph bá wà ó nà mí lẹ́nìí ó gé mi lórí mo lẹ plaster mọ́ ó ya photo gbogbo photograph yẹn ibo ló máa lọ ẹ ṣeun medical bills mo lọ sí hospital mo lọ sí ọ̀dọ̀ bọ̀dá chemist mo ra paracetamol receipt gbogbo ibo ló máa lọ ẹ ṣeun tó bá jẹ́ pé ẹ tẹ̀ wá lọ sọ́dọ̀ ọlọ́pàá àbẹ lọ sí OPD àbí citizens mediation center wọ́n ní kó ṣe pé òun ò ní fọwọ́ kan obìnrin yẹn mọ́ lẹ́yìn ìgbà yẹn ló tún wá lu obìnrin yẹn kọ́pì ìwé tó fún yín ibo ló máa lọ ẹ ṣeun aṣọ tó ya mọ́yàn lára ibo ló máa lọ ẹ ṣeun ṣẹ́tú wá rí lẹ́yìn yẹn mo ti sọ apart from certificate marriage certificate yẹn tó bá ní ibo ló máa lọ professional certificate yẹn ibo ló máa lọ birth certificate àti ti gbogbo àwọn ọmọ ibo ló máa lọ ẹ ṣeun ṣé wá rí báàgì bó ṣe kéré tó yẹn kó ti wà níbì kan tó bá ti di bó lọ yá mi tètè àgbẹ̀ kò ṣe kí ni kò fa etí ẹ báàgì yìí nìkan má gbé pọ̀tùmátò o ní ẹgbẹ́ pọ̀tùmátò o ṣe rí eléyìí ní pé eléyìí lè máa kọ́kọ́ dì mú ṣe gbọ́ nǹkan tí mò ń sọ tẹ bá mọ ẹni tírú ẹ ṣe tí fídíò yẹn bá ti jáde ẹ rí inú fídíò yẹn eléyìí lè máa kọ́kọ́ gbé tẹ máa lọ fi wá ibi tẹ ti máa rí ìrànlọ́wọ́ wọ́n bẹ ṣètò ẹ̀ láti gba ìtọ́ ẹ̀ jáde AG&PT náà ó wà ń bẹ̀ gbogbo àwọn ilé iṣẹ́ yìí under Ministry of Justice WAPA wà ń bẹ̀ Ministry of Youth and Social Development wọ́n wà ń bẹ̀ Ministry of Education náà wọ́n wà ń bẹ̀ láti ran àwọn ọmọ yìí lọ́wọ́ ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ make sure pé ẹ mú gbogbo àwọn kinní yìí kẹ́ mú sọ́wọ́ òsì yín ibi tí ẹ bá dáwọn èèyàn tó jẹ́ pé wọ́n ní ìdìrànlọ́wọ́ they need help àwọn ibi tó lè lọ ní Lagos State Government ni mo ti yan fún yín yẹn thank you very much ẹ ṣeun thank you for listening.
mo rò pé ẹ ti gbádùn ìtẹ́gbọ́ ẹ tún bá mi fún wọn látẹ̀wọ́ lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí. Now we'll go to the speaker who is going to talk to us about our children. May I call on Mrs. Adegbonmi Red to speak?
Good morning, and thank you very much. Your Excellencies, good morning. My big sis, good morning. And all my mothers, sisters, daughters, good morning. My sis here is Dada Oleja. Ṣùgbọ́n, Olegbon, Olaburo, Niya, Onomo, tó lè gbójúlé. Even her dressing, you can see that she's ready to fight for you. Abby, we thank God for her life. Basically, she has spoken about most of the vulnerabilities. Women, children. Forgive me, her Yoruba is so much better than mine. Me, I speak Ijesha. And there are not too many Ijesha people in this place. So let me speak. Carry on, Lube. So let me speak English. Since it's either Ijesha or English, I leave Yoruba for her. But we thank God, this topic, strengthening our collective impact, vulnerable but not defenseless. She has spoken about the women, and I'm continuing from where she has stopped. Because when the woman is vulnerable, the child is vulnerable. And these days, the children are becoming so vulnerable in so many ways. The children are suffering from the economic impact that the mothers and the fathers are suffering from. So the children are being abused in so many ways. Children are first of all abused in their homes. I deal a lot with children, and there are certain places, I don't even know whether to say or not to say, but there are certain communities in Lagos where there's a lot of child rape going on. It is happening a lot. Children are being raped, and they're not being raped just on the streets. They are being raped in their homes. They are being raped by their fathers. They are being raped by their brothers, by their uncles, and everybody is keeping quiet about it. People are saying, don't say it, so that we will not be embarrassed. I know somebody who saw, and it is not just poor people, poor children, rich children, women, girl children, they are being raped. Male children too, they are being raped. The house helps are doing things with the male children. Maybe you haven't heard it, but the house helps, the female house helps are raping the male children. And then everybody else is raping the female child. They're offering them little things, but they are raping them. And many times the parents know, and everybody says, don't talk about it. It is time we begin to talk about it. Because it is becoming and up till now, in fact, that was about a month ago, up till now, father has not been found, children have not been found. These things are happening every day, and we need to begin to talk about it and find what can we do about it. I like the topic, strengthening our collective impact, and I've begged my chairman of session to also let me talk about it for a minute or two. That one is to First Lady and her team. I don't know why they picked that topic, but by picking that topic, you have given homework to Cowsol for the next 10 years. I will talk about it in closing. Like I said, with the children, there are defenses now. There's the child rights law, there are child welfare offices, there are family courts. There is the mandatory reporting policy that Lagos State has started. That once you are in a position to, they say that it takes a village to look after a child. Once you witness a child being abused, molested, bullied, you have a compulsory duty to report it. They already have a policy. And if you don't report it, Dada Oleja, how many years imprisonment if they don't report? 2 years imprisonment. Unfortunately, many people do not. Do you know that if you don't report, you can go to jail for 2 years? How many of you know? Very few. That is the homework that Cowsol has set for itself. Mandatory reporting, 2 years. Yes, I believe that the people in Cowsol, when I give them the homework, by the time we come next year, they'll come and report how far they've gone. Mandatory reporting, 2 years. You have the yellow cards that they are now giving children in school. All these things to make children talk, and the adults too need to begin to talk. Children are vulnerable, but they should not. As it is now, most children are vulnerable and defenseless. They are vulnerable and defenseless. Our job as Cowsol is to now move from vulnerable and defenseless to vulnerable but not defenseless. Today, this vulnerable but not defenseless is not the true position. We're just doing small, small. Today, they are vulnerable and defenseless. With the number of cases I see, they are still very defenseless. But by the grace of God, when Cowsol starts doing his homework of strengthening our collective impact, when I read that collective impact, it was something somebody came up with. Just 2 more minutes. It means that we all together as different bodies have to harness our strength to fight this big battle. If we take 1 broom each, the broom will never sweep clean. But when we put all the sticks of the broom together, it will sweep clean. We're all doing different things. Today we can hear what Mrs. Rotimi is doing. Great work. We're going to hear what Mrs. Babatunde is doing. We're seeing what Cowsol is doing. What harnessing our collective impact means we all come together. Oh, okay. Can we have the, is the screen now working? We had asked them to project a list of quite a few. Is the screen working now? It's still not working. We had asked that they project a list of all the different bodies that can help. You're welcome, ma. You will get the homework too, ma. There's homework for you. You're welcome.
Only God knows what this man will do to me today.
Oh, okay.
Who in Chelsea played yesterday? Those boys tried very well, oh.
How about you?
Okay.
Waiting them play. Now because Hassan had to sleep for field yesterday.
Can we watch
Next time we go beat you now well.
Husband, good evening. I'm very sorry for coming back very late, so the market is so busy today. You know we are very close to festive period.
Yeah, woman. You better go back to where you are coming from. You think I don't know that you are following another man?
No what? Joe, I'm tired of all this your false accusation every day. All I know is that God is my witness. I'm not cheating on you. If you believe it or not, I'm not cheating on you.
Come back here. See this young woman, no. And they tell you, Joe, this woman, they follow another man. She they follow another man.
Kiru, you dey crazy, so real madness dey your head. Why you go there accuse your wife like that, say she dey follow another man?
I know which I they talk about, Joe. I know she dey follow another man, and I go show her pepper tonight.
Sikiru, you better leave this poor woman alone. If government catch you say you dey beat your wife,
Woman, I say, where are you coming from? Where are you coming from that you came back late? You better tell me the truth.
Sikiru, believe me, I'm coming from the shop.
Oh, you dey make me crazy. Woman, you dey make me crazy. I will tell you.
I cannot continue like this. This man will kill me one day. I must seek for help.
For all victims of domestic violence, the Lagos state government is ready to help you put a stop to it. Don't suffer in silence.
These are the available avenues.
Domestic violence is a crime and should be treated as such. What we are tackling today is an almost innate culture which relegates women to the background and forces them to suffer in silence. In Lagos, we are waging a war against this culture.
Thank you. We had also asked that a list be put up, a list of so many agencies doing the work together. And what is the homework? If we want to strengthen our collective impact, then one body, one organization will act as a backbone to coordinate, collaborate, and harmonize all these bodies. For Cowsol to choose this theme, it means Cowsol has agreed to be the backbone. Thank you. So that's why I want to ask Her Excellency, is it that Council had decided to be the backbone? And so you chose this team, strengthening our collective impact. Council will put itself forward to harmonize what all different organizations are doing, to fund impacting and letting everybody know. There is so much that they are doing. By the time Mrs. Babatunde comes and you hear all what she's doing, you will realize that somebody needs to harness what everybody is doing, put it together, and put the word out. Whether you are a child in primary school, in secondary school, you are a woman, wherever you are, you will hear about it, and you will know where to go when you have a problem. It needs money. It needs television adverts. If OPD was on television, there is so much more. In fact, I don't know, they'll have to build a new office. That is what strengthening our collective impact is all about. Raising funding and putting these things out where everybody can see it. Mrs. Rotimi came with a few flyers. Imagine what she can do if she can have a television program in all the major Nigerian languages. And they have small clips, all these little things on NTA, on channels, all this. Cowsol, are you ready? Cowsol, are you ready? You're asking them. You are not ready. You are ready. So by this time next year, Mrs. Rotimi, all those things will be on channels, on NTA. Hold them. They are ready to do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I need to tell Mrs. Adegbomire that His Excellency, the Governor of Lagos State, has already spearheaded that which she's asked for. He's so passionate about it, and if we recollect, he actually led the men to work against violence. So, and that is why we have the Domestic and Sexual Violence Response Team. And it's a team because it consists of so many agencies. We have WAPA, we have Ministry of Education, we have OPD, we have CMC. Okay, maybe I should say their names. CMC, Citizen Mediation Center. OPD is Office of the Public Defender. Ministry of Education is part of this team. The police, they are part of this team. We have NGOs, Mirabel Center. In Ministry of Justice, we have the Directorate of Public Prosecutions. We also have Citizens' Rights, that is part of this team. We have Women's Rights and Health Project, an NGO. We have the media, Channels Television is part of it. State Accountability for Voice Initiative, Women and Risk International Foundation. I think we need to write this number down. It's *6820# *6820#. If you know, like Mrs. Adegbomire said, we are all mandated reporter. That means if you know of anybody being abused, please call that number. It is a crime for you not to call that number. *6820#. Somebody will pick it up.
My name is Pedro Aramide. I'm from Ojodu.
We're just going to take 4 questions.
The question I want to ask Mars is that most times when we're talking about domestic violence and the vulnerability of the children, we are always facing the girl child. Even today, I've not seen us talk about the boys. And I belong to an organization, we call it Touch Me Not campaign. And we go to different schools when schools are about to resume. And most times when we take questions from these children, I have seen situations about 4 boys that have been heavily molested. I want us to focus also on molestation in our boys. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, ladies. My name is F.F. Taiwo, once more. The president of Wooford, the secretary of Batworth, My question is on molestation against widows. When a husband dies intestate, that is without a will, and the wife is not married in the court. Their marriage is civil or traditional marriage. What right does the woman have over the properties of the husband? That is my question.
My name is Jibike ONABANJO, and my observation is about domestic violence against house helps, caregivers. That wasn't addressed. And we as women, I know about more than half of us here have them at home. And I know we would have known that some of us don't treat them well. So I would like us to address that and make an appeal to we women. Thank you.
My name is Arin Oluwo. My question is, why do women, when their children come to tell them that maybe it's the father in the house that is molesting the child, why do women prefer to save their marriage rather than protect their children? Why is it difficult for us to stand for these children who are vulnerable? And we keep saying our homes first, at the expense of our children. And I want to advise women, I want to suggest that it's not enough that your name is in the property that you and your husband own. It's important what is in your hands, what is under your name is yours. The one that is Mr. and Mrs., you have no control over. Even when you put all your money down for the man to buy the land, and he ends up putting his name there, everybody will assume it's his property that he just put your name on. And there's nothing wrong in you having something for yourself, separate. I keep encouraging women, both young and those who are about to marry, there is nothing wrong with you buying land, even if it's a quarter plot. We have instances where women who have gone as far as being commissioners and have stopped and are in their 60s, but all the money they made while they were working, they put in their husbands. They put where their husband said, put it. And at 65, 68, they have nothing. The men threaten them. They have nothing. They are scared. You still have opportunity. Make sure you get something for yourself. It's not a crime. Thank you.
My name is Erelu Fumi Agnes Sesi. My question goes thus. For ladies or women that are suffering in their marriages, sometimes you see their parents coming into the issues, and when they believe that for them not to lose any life, they might want to tend to take their daughter away from the marriage, abusive relationship or marriage. And you see in that instances, people will condemn those parents that they are not actually contributing positively into their daughter's marriage. They might even say that it's the mother that has disrupted or destroyed the marriage of the daughter. And being a mother, she might not want to lose her daughter, but people will condemn her actions. In that instance, what do we feel the mother should do? Should they continue to advise their daughter to stay in abusive marriage? Or should the parent take their daughter away from abusive marriage and then plug their ear to whatever people need to say, negative things against them? Secondly, issues like male teachers abusing female students. In cases where they were caught in the act, and then even there are punishments to the male lecturers. They got being sacked from work for that act. It's been established that they violated the rights of their female students. And when now you now advised the parents of the female student to prosecute.
I'm sorry,
those teachers.
Can you please round
up? Okay, but to prosecute the lecturers, the male lecturers, so that can serve as a deterrent to other male lecturers. You now hear other women condemning you or telling you that how can you advise the parent to go to prosecute when they are the girls that are being violated, their identities will be revealed. And it might be difficult for them to get husbands in the future. It's a complex thing. I just want to hear advices today. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
I just want to ask, how culpable are the ballets, the churches, the alajis, the mosques? How culpable are they when they hear about these things and they do nothing about it? Thank you.
Okay, I will start with the last one, the question by the essay, how culpable. Yes, under the criminal law, there is what you call when you are a co-conspirator. The minute you know that an offense has been committed and you did not report, you are also liable. If it is reported to the police, it is called obstruction of justice. You can be criminally, even whether ballet or no ballet, can be prosecuted. We have had instances where churches, imams, even schools, will sweep things under the carpet because of they don't want their church or the school or anywhere to be stigmatized. And that is why my sister had mentioned the issue of mandatory reporting. If you are a mandatory reporter and you witness a crime against a child or anybody and you fail to report, and there is evidence that you witnessed it, it is 2 years imprisonment. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. And that is why we are sensitizing and will continue to sensitize on that. Then on the issue of house helps, unfortunately, time did not permit us. But if you look at my paper, that when you are talking of domestic violence, it is not only the wife and the child alone. Everybody that works within your home, including your driver, your house help, even the man, can also bring a case of domestic violence. We have women too that beat their husbands. So they come as well. So it protects everybody that is under your household. Whether house help, driver, gardener, your sister. So far that person lives at number 10 Downing Street. That person is part of your household and it will be tagged as domestic violence. You talk about safety bag. What if the man did not want settlement? Good. And how do you eventually carry your load? Very well. You know that when we talk about safety nets, this safety bag, like that woman in the video, is a short-term kind of palliatement, you know, just to, at least for the time being, suffer me. Then when you now go to any of the offices, if you look at that video, that was why it would have been nice if it was shown earlier before. You will see the woman going to different offices. You see the door for WAPA, OPD, CMC, family court, domestic violence court, all the doors available. It's for her to go to find a kind of refuge temporarily. There they will now call the man. And if the man now refuses to come, the family court is there. The woman has a right to go to public defender and get a free lawyer. You don't have to pay. And say, I want my right. I want a separation. I don't want divorce. But I want the court to call the man to order. Milady is here. So the family court will say, hey, you cannot beat your wife, it's under the law, it's against the law. But we are going to give you a restraining order. You must not move 10 feet to this woman. Therefore, you lost Simino with her children. And then when the matter is now resolved amicably between the two of you, then the woman can come back. It is for her life. But if the matter cannot be resolved,
both the male and the female children have to be protected because both of them are vulnerable. I just gave an example of a female child, but male children are also being raped and they're also vulnerable. Somebody asked about a widow. If you are not married.
Okay, I'll take that. Okay.
I want to take that. You are a widow, you are not married. It means that you are married under native law and custom, or you are not married at all. The native law and custom of your husband is what will take effect. If you are Yoruba, in fact, in most of our customs, unfortunately, wives do not inherit. It is the children that inherit. Right or wrong? Unfortunately. If you have children, your children will inherit. If you don't have children, then it is very unfortunate. And that is part of the struggle that I believe we need to continue to push. That is why we need to strengthen our collective impact. A lot of women are married under native law and custom. Their husbands die, they don't have children, and they pay for it forever because nobody looks after them. The family of the man move in and take the property of the man. There was a very sad case I was involved in. While we were fighting for the woman's share through her 8-year-old daughter, the daughter died. That was the end. She had no right again to that man's property because she was not married. I always encourage women, as much as possible, marry the man, because our society does not favor unmarried women. It's unfortunate. So that is what people like Cowsol and advocacy groups should be pushing for. But as of today, if you are not married and you don't have children in a home, you don't get anything. So Cowsol, milady, my ogas, we have to change these policies. We have to advocate, because there are sisters like ours, and unfortunately they are not married, but that is a heavy price to pay. In fact, it's not only those who are not married. If you are married under native law and custom, the law recognizes your marriage under native law and custom, but the law does not allow you to inherit. What do we do about that? So we have to advocate for changes in the policy, in culture, in all these things. Somebody is asking that a woman who finds her daughter sleeps with her father, what should she do? Note, the lady has remarried and the girl is with her. It is part of the dilemmas that we still face in this our culture. The real thing she should do is report the father. Go to police, report. But how many people here will report their husbands? If you can report your husband that he slept with your daughter and be honest about it, raise up your hand. Very few people will go and report, because they are thinking of two things. I don't want to embarrass my daughter and I don't want to embarrass my husband. So everybody, how many hands are up? Very few. We all keep quiet about it. Very, very few. I don't think up to 1/10 is up. And that is what we're talking about. Until more people are willing to stand up and talk, women and children will be vulnerable and defenseless. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, I need to add to the issue of the woman who is not married under the law. What I would advise you as a woman is, whatever you buy together, the law doesn't give you a right. But as co-owner, so if you buy cement, there is no judgment, there is nothing, but that will make is a joint property. It's not a right, so you are not inheriting it. It's because you own it with him. Even if it's a business, please try to keep whatever, receipts, things that will show that you jointly own. Because under the law, you don't have a right to inherit. And then about the issue of if you don't want to report, you can report confidentially, and nobody will tell the husband that you are the one who came to report. So please report. Please, if you see or know, kindly report. I think on this note, we've taken enough of your time. We want to say a big thank you for listening and being part of this. God bless you all.
We are one. We are Cowsol, Cowsol, and we stand by our husbands. We are the mothers.
Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. For this session this afternoon, may I please crave the indulgence of the high table and members here. Sorry, permit me to stand up. I would like Mr. DJ, are you ready? Just for 50 seconds, I would like DJ to play a particular song. And if you feel like standing up and just relaxing your body, please let's do it. Mr. DJ, please hit it.
Niger flavor that come.
Mystery. You know where, I'm up here. It's up a dice.
Rinse up me on the pond. Oh yeah, fún wọn lẹ́gbẹ̀gbẹ̀. Oh yeah, fún wọn lẹ́gbẹ̀gbẹ̀. Oh yeah, fún wọn lẹ́gbẹ̀gbẹ̀. Fún wọn jẹ́ bí ṣe wẹ́gbẹ̀. Mystery. Oh yeah, fún wọn lẹ́gbẹ̀gbẹ̀. Oh yeah, fún wọn lẹ́gbẹ̀gbẹ̀. Oh yeah, fún wọn lẹ́gbẹ̀gbẹ̀. Fún wọn jẹ́ bí ṣe wẹ́gbẹ̀. iPhone 1, iPhone 2, iPhone 3, iPhone 4, iPhone 5, iPhone 6, iPhone 7, my love,
Thank you very much.
me on the pond.
Please give yourselves a round of applause. And I will start now, yes. Please give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you. So we all picked up on the chorus. iPhone 1, iPhone 2, iPhone 3, iPhone 4, Android, Technophone. So whether we like it or not, smart devices are in our lives and are in our children's lives. However we talk about it, it's part of their lives. We are encouraging it, we're buying it for our young children, and they cannot live without technology. It is my pleasure to invite Mrs. Charity Babatunde. She's going to speak to us about young children and young people and technology, and the impact this technology is having on us, and in particular, parenting digital kids. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, the First Lady of Lagos State, and all other First Ladies here present, please permit me to stand on existing protocol. It's my pleasure and my honor to be here. And, okay, so it's projecting already. I'm going to be spending the next 20 minutes. Can we all hear me, please? Okay, I'm going to be spending the next 20 minutes or thereabout talking about something that we're all very familiar with. I'm very happy that my chair took that song. How many of us have our phones here? You have a phone, raise it. How many of us have our phones here, but we have not used it today? So what that means is that it's pretty obvious that technology has taken over. And it has nothing to do with what you do in life. Whether you are the chairman or you are the vulcanizer, whether you are the bread seller or you are a PhD holder, everybody is using technology. So I stand here today talking about something that we're very familiar with. And I also stand here today with a heart of gratitude. I'm very happy to be talking to women across different spheres of life. Why? Because women are change makers. Look, we're going to be doing this session together, so please, I need your attention. Women are change makers. What did I say? We're change makers. They say if you give a woman something small, she has the ability to make it something great. So if you give a woman trouble, she will give you wahala. If you give a woman a cup of beans, she can either give you ewa agoin, akara, or moi moi, but she will turn something good. Whether you are a biological mother, you have given birth to your child, or you have the opportunity to interact or to mix with any child, whether it's the people you see on your street or the people you see in your schools, you are a mother. And my heart is happy today because I'm talking to people who are going to go out and make a difference. We're talking today about our collective impact. And what that means is that every single one of us sitting here is important. Sorry, can we change this mic, please? Hello? Yeah. So what that means is that every one of us here is important. Let me tell you a little story, and this was way before the digital age. When I was in university, we had this kiosk, the man who was at the kiosk, who was like a father. I didn't know him before. But when you go and do things, he's the one who calls you to advise you. He's the one who says, the way they see you, be like say, you know, they read your book, oh, go read. And that person kept us on the straight and narrow. We need to go back to that time where collectively we realize that it is our responsibility to raise the next generation. At no time has parenting ever been like this. At no time have we had the kind of issues that we have. And I can stand here and I can tell you stories. I run a social enterprise called Rave et al. And one of the things we do is we go around schools talking to children about different things, how they can use technology responsibly. Because whether we like it or not, technology is here to stay. Whether we like it or not, the internet is here to stay. And in fact, we're very backward. You know why? Schools in China, schools in Finland are already teaching their children how to do things, and they're coming up with inventions that we have not even started. So we really need to wake up. But like I said, we have in our hands tools that we can use to make a huge difference. But what has happened is that they say when you do not know the use of what you have in your hands, you tend to abuse it. So we have taken technology that should be a tool for us to make progress, and we have used it for all manner of things. Technology is not bad. I'm sure that there are many of us sitting here that cannot remember the last time we went into a banking hall. You want to do a transaction, *737*#. You've done the transfer. That's a good thing. It has given us convenience. But there are also many of us here, sadly, because of technology, we cannot remember when we sat down to talk to our children. Even when you sit down on the dining table, everybody's looking at their phone. You go to parties, everybody is looking at their phone. How do we expect to impact the lives of our children? Very recently, earlier this year, the story of codeine broke. The codeine story. How many of us remember the story? There was the issue of how people were abusing codeine. It's not social media that caused it. These issues have existed from time immemorial. But what happened was that social media made it obvious that it's a possibility, and that if you are depressed, you can abuse codeine. If you are depressed, you can think about suicide. And it is very sad because at a time, Nigerians were known to be the happiest people on earth. It was unheard of to hear that a Nigerian committed suicide. Now, an 8-year-old boy in Abuja in May killed himself because he was playing games with his brothers. He was losing the game and he decided to take his life. That is how things have degenerated. And we need to sit down and wake up, because a lot of us are giving our children access to those tools without giving them advice on how to use it responsibly. So what has happened is that our children are what we call digital natives. Let me go back. Our children are what we call digital natives. What that means is that from the womb, it's as if they don't born them with computer. You give a 2-year-old a phone, and the 2-year-old does like this and has opened it, and you're wondering, are you a witch? Meanwhile, you, with your device, you are still saying, please come and show me, which button should I press? You are afraid to press buttons. But you see, when it comes to this age that we're parenting, we need to remember that this is one instance where, whether we are the immigrants, because that's what we are, many of us, they didn't born us with computer. Well, we know how to take selfie, we know how to do WhatsApp, we know how to post. The rest is A-levels. So they didn't born us with it. But whether they born us with it or not, if you remember that you are the one who taught your child how to use spoon, that is very easy. They shouldn't try you with that computer. It's just that you don't have time for them. So we need to realize that even though we're the immigrants in that space, we still have authority over our children. Last year, there was a survey that was done. And, when I was being introduced, it was said that I was the DQ ambassador. DQ is a global organization. DQ means Digital Intelligence Quotient. And there was a global survey that was done, 39 countries. I was determined that Nigeria would be part of the statistics, because I was tired of parents saying it does not happen in Nigeria. I will tell you many things that are happening. 54% of our children ages 8 to 12, who ideally should not even have smartphones, are already suffering from cyberbullying, online sexual abuse, and addiction to video games. And we're sitting down and we're pretending that we do not know what is going on. I didn't come here to be nice, because we have a crisis in our hands. And let me tell you what makes the crisis worse, is the fact that in 1 second, it can go viral. 1 second of being spontaneous and not thinking about what you're doing can put you in trouble. So the question is, how can we protect our children? What can we do? When we two were still trying to know which button to press, what do we do? So let me tell you what parents typically do. They will say, my child cannot use phone, or my child cannot go on social media, or this internet thing is just too bad, I'm not going to allow my child to play with it. If you do that, you are putting your child at a disadvantage, because computer phones have become like your biro. However, there is an age that you should give them access. There is none of you here that will have a 6-year-old, and the 6-year-old will come to you and say, Mommy, I want to go to ShopRite. And you will tell the 6-year-old, be going. When you come back, I will see you. How come we have allowed our children to go to that world called the digital world, and we've left them to be roaming? We've left them, they're roaming around, we're not paying attention. Is it because there's a screen? There is so much damage that is going on. And for us to be able to parent our children well in this age, we need to stand up and we need to know what we're doing. I agree that because of economic realities, it is difficult for us to stand up and do some of the things we want to do. That's why some of us exist. We realize that there is a gap. We're not here to take the place of parents, but we're here to work with you, to work with schools, to work with government, to make sure that something happens. So yes, our children are constantly looking at screens. Let me tell you a funny story. There was one time I traveled, and I thought, the way these children hold the phones, an iPad, and they're talking, and they know when somebody is coming, they're not even looking. So I decided to try it one day. Unfortunately, this was on the streets of London. I was not chatting, no. I wanted to use Google Map. as I was going, the next day I found myself on the floor. I did not realize that it takes skill to be able to chat or look at a device and talk. And you know London people, they know send person. They just looked at me and crossed the other side. I'm sure they thought maybe she was drunk. But it wasn't. So yes, our children are definitely very skilled, no doubt. But the thing is that we need to remember that no matter how skilled they are, the skills that we have as parents is still what applies. Whether you are an illiterate, we have heard of illiterates that have raised people to be presidents. It does not matter how illiterate you are. All you need to do is be determined. And that's why I say I'm standing here today in front of change makers. I'm standing here today in front of people who have decided that enough is enough. We need to protect our children. There are 4 things I'm going to take us through very quickly. 4 things that can help us, and then we'll begin to round up. 1 is we should not lose sight of the goal of parenting. 2 is we should seek to understand. 3, prepare our children for the digital future. And 4, reinforce values. I'll take the first one. But before I go there, these digital kids that we say we're even parenting, who is this digital kid? Because we're all saying the digital children, the digital children, the digital children. And some people have excluded themselves. You see, the moment a child is born, especially in this era of maternity shoot, that child is already a digital child. From the womb, you put your stomach and you take the picture, you have already left a footprint. The moment your child uses a device, that child is already a digital kid. So who are digital kids? They're the children you and I see every day that use WhatsApp, whether they are 4 or they are 40. They're the children that you and I see every day that don't appear to be talking to anybody but their phones. But guess what? There are also those who are using it to do yahoo. Those are digital kids. The other day there was a clip that was making its rounds on WhatsApp about a child who was talking about yahoo. And then there is Silas Adekunle. How many of us have heard of Silas Adekunle? Okay. So this is the reason why we need to educate ourselves. Very recently, a Nigerian-born boy, he's now 26 years old. His mother left Nigeria to seek greener pastures in London. After some years, he went with her. Silas Adekunle is now earning, he's the richest robotics engineer in the world. He's only 26 years old. He's the richest robotics engineer in the world from gaming. There are some of us that will be telling our children it's only game. It's not only game. There's money in that game. But if you don't teach the child how to use it properly and at the right time, there will be a problem. So, Silas Adekunle is a digital child. How many of us have heard of Sharon from Makoko? Sharon Okwe, 11th child of her family. She was recently featured as one of the CNN heroes. Why? Because she participated in this girl coding thing. She used digital technology to create a website. If you want to buy fresh fish from Makoko now, you don't need to go there. Just go on your computer or your phone. Say, I want Panla 2 kg. I want Titus 1 kg. Because of what Sharon has done. But then, I will tell you some other digital kids. Every time I go to schools to talk, we conduct an anonymous survey called What We Wish Our Parents Knew. What we wish our parents knew. If you want to find out about it, you can check our YouTube page. The videos are there for free. Every Friday we come up with a new episode. And the reason why we started that was because I was tired of Nigerian parents saying, all these things, it doesn't happen here. It only happens in the abroad. It doesn't only happen in the abroad. The last episode we did was about a 15-year-old girl in Lagos who is being blackmailed by her classmates because she has her nude pictures. The classmate has said, I'm going to post your pictures online except you give me money. So she has been giving money. She has been giving money. Now she's tired. If you know how many of your children, our children, that have their naked pictures online, we can say, God forbid, is not my portion. But I'm telling you what is happening. They have their naked pictures online. That is how they have used technology. So, what is the goal of parenting? Very quickly. We must remember that when our parents brought us up, there was only one thing they were looking for. They wanted us to be responsible. Isn't that what you want for your children? We want them to be responsible. Isn't that it? So, we must not forget that whether it is the digital world or the real world, the only thing we want is for our children to be responsible. However, I know that there's a problem. So we need to balance that. What is the fourth one? And that's the final one. We must reinforce values. Please, everybody say values. We must reinforce values. Can I hear it again? Values. Why? Because with the best, no matter how much you try, you see, as you are sitting here now, your child is somewhere else. Something is telling that child what to do. And you know, with this digital world, 1 second, you just press send, bam, the thing has gone. Before there was technology, you first reach your house to go and tell your best friend. Then the best friend will travel somewhere to go and tell another best friend. Now, you press, the thing goes. So what will help your child make the right choice are the values that you instill in them. And it is our responsibility as mothers. And gone are the days when we will tell them, do what I say. It is what I do. What values are you showing them? I want you to ask yourself that question. What values are you showing them? The founder of the World Economic Forum said the only thing that will be constant in this digital age are our values and our identity. I was talking to some children, and they said to me, Auntie, stealing is no longer stealing. It's called fapping. And they told me, technically, it's not stealing. It's called fapping. You know, you just take something and, well, you may return it, you may not return it. And I was looking at them, and they were trying to convince me. That is how corruption starts. You would tell them, I'm sure most of us sitting here, if you took something home that was not your own, and your mother saw it, she would chase you out of the house. Our children are coming back, this bag is fine, talo fue. And then they are smiling, and you're not asking questions. And you think it's going to go on? There's going to be a problem. So we need to wake up. What are some of the values we need to teach them? We need to teach them about responsibility. We need to teach them about dignity in labor. Let me try and round up. You see, what has happened is that we're a bit confused. And I know I'm being hard on us, but it's deliberate. We're not sure whether we're following Western culture or following Nigerian culture. So I tell my children, you cannot pick and choose. If you tell me you want to do Igbo culture, when you are 18, move out of my house and pay your bills. But what we're doing is we will take them and we'll be holding them like this. And we're not teaching them responsibility, indulging them, and then we're complaining that they're entitled. Who caused it? It's us. Our parents did not treat us like that, and that is one of the things that we need to take. What are the values that we need to reinforce? This screen has made some of us very wicked people. We think that because it's a screen, we can insult people anyhow. So we pass comments that are very painful. You abuse the person's mother, person's father's father, and you want to tell your child to be respectful. It's not going to work. You think that because a screen gives you some form of invisible nature, you can talk anyhow. What are you saying to your children? I didn't come here to be nice, even though normally I'm a nice person, very gentle. But we have a problem. And I want every one of us sitting here, whether you are selling bread or you are sitting in the boardroom in Washington, to know that we have a problem. These children have the whole world in their pockets, and they can destroy their lives in 1 minute. It is our responsibility to teach them where to go. Like I said, we do not take the place of parents. We're only helping. We're helping you to know how to talk to your children, because sometimes the way we even have conversations with them, they won't tell you anything. You will just be deceiving yourself. They won't talk to you. And they will be talking to somebody else, and the story that person is telling them is different from you. So, again, mothers, they say you do not like talking to them about sex. They say our parents don't talk to us about sex. So guess what? They go to somebody else and say, this thing, what is it? And then the person says, come, let me show you. And then you say they raped them. It's your fault. The world that we're living in, information is at the press of a button. If I want to know anything, all I have to press the button. And how many of us know that if you type sex on your computer, what will come out is pornography. Let me shock you finally and drop the mic. There was this 6-year-old girl who used to have her hair done very regularly by this hairdresser. One day, the mother noticed that this is my child that is constantly crying every time they're doing her hair, has suddenly stopped crying. So she went to the hairdresser. Kehinde, she gone. Thank you very much. Oh. It seems your hand is very good. What is this thing that my child is even looking at? It was hardcore pornography. The hairdresser had given the girl a phone to be watching porn. Right now, they're in counseling. 6-year-old girl. And then you say you are too busy? We had better wake up and understand what we're doing because we have a problem. This age that we're living in, we're going to have to learn, unlearn, and relearn. We're going to learn to listen to what is being said and what is not being said. We're going to unlearn how to reorder our priorities. And then we're going to have to relearn a lot of things. I'm hoping that in this 20 minutes, I've been able to leave you uncomfortable. Because you need to be very, very uncomfortable to be able to parent our children. Thank you very much.
Inú mi dùn wípé ọ̀rọ̀ yìí ó ta bá gbogbo wa pátápátá, wọ́n wá ní pé ká ṣojúṣe wa. Arábìnrin Charity Ladi Babatunde bá wa sọ̀rọ̀ lórí ṣíṣe àmúgbòrò ojúṣe wa nípa ìtọ́jú ọmọ àti lílo ẹ̀rọ ayélujára. Wọ́n ní bá a fẹ́ bá a kọ̀. Ẹ̀rọ ayélujára ti dohun tí tolórí tẹlẹ́mù ń lò ní gbogbo ìgbà nínú ìgbésí ayé wa. Àwọn obìnrin wọ́n ní a jẹ́ irinṣẹ́ ìyípadà rere nílùú. Kí là ń ṣe sí ìpèníjà lórí lílo ẹ̀rọ ayélujára tó gbòde kan? Báwo la ṣe ń lo ẹ̀rọ ìgbàlódé? Báwo la ṣe ń lo ẹ̀rọ ayélujára? Gbogbo alájó lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́gbẹ́ lẹ́ẹ̀kan. Wọ́n ní àwọn kan wà tí wọ́n ì tí mọ̀ bọ́ ṣe ń lo fóònù àsìkò tó báyìí o. Ká mọ àǹfààní tí ẹ̀rọ ìgbàlódé lè fún wa, tá a bá mọ̀ ọ́, à á lò dáadáa. Bá a bá mọ̀ ọ́, kò sí bá ṣe máa lò ó lọ́nà tó tọ́, tá a máa tún fi ẹ̀kọ́ yìí tọ́ àwọn ọmọ wa. Oníkálukú ń ṣe tèmi ṣe tiẹ̀, òbí ò gbọ́ tọmọ, ọmọ ò gbọ́ tòbí. Wọ́n sọ ewu tó wà nínú àìbójútó àwọn ọmọ nípa lílo ẹ̀rọ ayélujára. Gbogbo wa náà ni a gbọ́dọ̀ ṣiṣẹ́ lórí ẹ̀. Ìjáfara léwu. Wọ́n wá gbà wá lámọ̀ràn, wọ́n ní kò ní da ká má jẹ́ kí àwọn ọmọ ní ìlò ẹ̀. Ká má mọ̀ ọ́ torí pé ọpọ́n ti sún síwájú, ayé yìí lọ à ń tọ́. Kò sí aburú tí òbí bá mọ ìlò kọ̀ǹpútà, wọ́n á lè fi tọ́ àwọn ọmọ náà ni. Wọ́n ní ká gbáradì fún ọjọ́ iwájú tó dé tán o. Ká kọ́ àwọn ọmọ wa lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ìhùwàsí tó dára torí pé ilé la ti ń kẹ́ṣọ̀ọ́ ròde. Wọ́n wá fún wa lákàwé àwọn ọmọ tó ń gbégbá orókè nípa lílo ẹ̀rọ ìgbàlódé. Wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ Sharon Okue ní Makoko, wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ Silas Babatunde. Títọ́ wọn ó gbọ́dọ̀ yí padà torí pé ayé ti ń yí síwájú, àwa náà gbọ́dọ̀ bá yí. Ká kọ́ wọn lọ́nà ìgbàlódé, àmọ́ ká fún wọn ní àwọn ẹ̀kọ́ ọmọlúàbí, kọ́ mọ ojúṣe wọn, kọ́ lóòótọ́, káwọn ọmọ wa láàánú, kọ́ tayọ, kọ́ ní ẹ̀mí títa ọrẹ, kọ́ mọ̀ọ́re, kọ́ lè bọ̀wọ̀ fágbà. Tó bá ti mọ gbogbo àwọn ìwà ọmọlúàbí yìí, ó dá mi lójú pé tó bá ti ń lo ẹ̀rọ ayélujára, wọ́n á máa lò ó lọ́nà tó tọ́. Káwọn òbí, kò sí ìgbà téèyàn ò lè kọ́ ẹ̀kọ́ o, wọ́n ní pé ẹ̀kọ́ ń tẹ̀síwájú ni, káwa náà máa bẹ́ẹ̀kọ́ tẹ̀síwájú. Ẹ ṣeun.
Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I think we're at the point where we'll just take a few questions. I believe that the speaker has done justice. She has raised some, I think, more of her experiences and the examples she has given us. So I won't be summarizing anything she has said. I think she has done well already. So we'll take a few questions, maybe about 4 questions. Can I have... Oh, we don't need questions. She has answered everything. Can I have a few people? Thank you. Maybe I should ask one question. So I have very young children, and my son is addicted to the iPad. In fact, I have rules. On school days, no iPad, no television. But on Fridays, oh, thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. On Fridays, then the iPad is allowed. My son is holding the iPad on one hand, holding the phone on one hand, my phone, by the way, and the television. So my question really is this. At what age should you buy your child a phone, with particular reference to a smartphone. People say you need phones because you want to know where your children are or where they are. But with that particular phone, they get text messages. MTN sends all these unsubscribed messages, and then this pornography that she was speaking to. So I believe my first question is, at what age should you buy a child a phone? Smartphone in particular. So that's one question. I think we have 3 questions to go. Thank you, madam.
My name is Omolara Omosonya. I'm a journalist, and I would like you to explain some of the questions I'm going to ask in Yoruba for the benefit of our people. First, at what age should we start educating our children about sex education? Because from the example you gave, a 6-year-old girl, and bí àwa náà ṣe rí, ó ní ọmọ ọdún mẹ́sàn-án kan náà tí ìyá ò mọ̀ púpọ̀ nípa pé wọ́n ń lo fóònù. Are you getting me, ma? The mother is not so ICT compliant. It's even our other children that shows her how to use the telephone, how to use a mobile phone. She discovered that this 9-year-old girl visits a porno site nearly every night. Alẹ́ ó dẹ̀ ti pẹ́ tí ọmọ yẹn ti máa ń wo irú nǹkan bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn kí ìyá ẹ̀ tó mọ̀. Nígbà tó máa mọ̀ ó bú sẹ́kún ni. Kí ni kí irú ìyá yẹn ṣe? Àti pé kí ni àwọn obìnrin tó kù kí la lè ṣe nítorí a ti ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ká ba lè dáàbò bo àwọn ọmọ wa kán má lọ, which is prevention. But tó bá ti ṣẹlẹ̀, solution, what's the solution? What should we do, particularly for our market women and men who are not so compliant, who are not digitally capable? What should be done?
I'm Joyce Onofowokon, Special Advisor, Social Development. I would like you to address the issue of babies and technology and attention deficit disorder.
All right. All right, so let me take the first question. What age should you buy a smartphone for a child? Okay. Hello? Are we all together? Now, this is one area that you cannot legislate. And I will tell you why. A child may be 15 and still not be responsible enough to know what to do. However, looking at it from the legal perspective, a child should at least be 13 years old to be able to access certain apps. And that is because if anything happens, that child will not be protected. Some people have given their children at age 4 phones. What exactly, you need to ask yourself, what does that child need to do with the phone? That is what will determine. Your child can use the mother's device. Your child can use a general device in the house. Must the child own their own phone? What for? If you say, okay, I want to make sure that everything is okay, buy the one that you can only phone. Hello? Are you okay? I'm okay. Where are you? I'm on the way home. There's no need to buy a smartphone for a child who is not responsible enough to know what to do when they encounter inappropriate material. And that inappropriate material can be pornography, it can be insults, it can be somebody who sends a message as if, I'm sorry, when it comes to this matter, my body gets hot, so I can't sit down. Let's assume that the daddy's phone got stolen. The daddy left the house, his phone got stolen by a close domestic worker. And that person picks the phone and sends a message to the child and says, "Hi, sweetheart, how are you? Come and meet me at so and so." The child thinks that it is the father and goes there, and something happens. What do we do? That child is not yet responsible enough to take that decision. My advice would be, until the time that in your heart, you know that you have trained your child to be able to take care of themselves and take choices, do not put the whole world in that child's hands. That's my counsel. Okay, now I have a confession to make, and this is, it's always good to discover something new about people. I am not Yoruba, but I'm married to a Yoruba man. I'm from Niger State, but I've lived here for the better part of my life. So as she was asking the question in Yoruba, I was speaking it. I was trying. So I can't answer in Yoruba, but somebody will interpret. But I got the question. The issue is, when do you start sex education? Very recently, I heard, I haven't researched it yet, but I'm sure the doctors in the house will be able to tell us, that a young child from 3-4 months already has sensation in her clitoris. What that means is that anybody who touches, she will do like this. At that stage, it is enough for you to begin to know and restrict movements of people in that area. That is sex education. You can have age-appropriate sex education for your child. So your 3-year-old comes, because your children are not blind though, they can see. And you see this television, they're seeing all manner of things. So they say, those people that are kissing, you say close your eyes, Joe, they are not kissing. The child has already seen. Tell the child that you see that thing that they're doing is meant for adults that are married. Or it's meant, find something to begin to have conversations. One of the things that time did not allow me to say is, as a parent in this age, you must learn to absorb shock. So your child comes to you and says, I like one boy in my class. Get away, is it only boy you're talking about? That's not what you should do. You say, tell me, who is this boy? What do you like about this boy? Because that is an opportunity for you to begin to tell the child what they should like about boys and what they shouldn't like about boys. They say he's fine. You then tell them, he's good. How does he do in class? So that the child knows that fine will not put food on the table. You begin to have conversations. The child comes to you and says, I want to start having sex. And then you go into a panic and you call apostle, call everybody. That's not the time to call apostle. Sit down and tell, why do you want to start having sex? My mother would not have had that conversation with me. But that's why I told you that the method has to change. Because if you do not ask that child and calm down, and if your blood is boiling, just go to the toilet and say, Olorun gba mi o, help me God. Then you come out and say, hey, that question you were asking me, don't start having sex yet until you are sure, and you talk to them. There's nothing embarrassing about it. And they know anyway. You are deceiving yourself if you think they don't know. They already know. So you better give them the true version. Don't tell them that it is when you talk to a boy you will get pregnant. They know that's not true. Yes. Now, the last question is, what are the solutions for preventing children that are accessing porn sites? First of all, there are apps. Hello? If you find out that your child has access to your phone, there are different restrictions on different phones that you can put so that they do not go to certain sites. So you program it. We cannot talk about it today. But I'm sure that if you even go to that child and tell the child that, tell me about restriction, they will show you the restriction on the phone. Put it on. Make sure the child does not have access. That's number one. Number two, avoid leaving your children that are vulnerable alone with such devices, especially at young ages. Number three, tell them what to do when they encounter such images. You see pornography. You see, a child is naturally curious. And curiosity is good for this age that we're living in. Because that's how come we have driverless cars. If they were not curious, we wouldn't have driverless cars. So we need to answer their curiosity. Where the problem comes from is when we do not answer them well. So you tell them, when you are doing your homework online, sorry, let me just tell the story and we'll round up. A friend of mine, her daughter was 10 years old. And the girl went to meet her mother and said, Mom, what is the meaning of the F word? We know what the F word is, right? And the mother told her, is that thing that you used to eat? The girl knew that that was not what it was. You will ask me, how did she know? She's not stupid. So she went and Googled it. And as soon as she Googled it, images started coming up. She was in shock because she couldn't understand why two people naked were doing their face as if there was something that was wrong with them. So she was there looking. It was at that time that her mother walked in. The mother first gave her 2 slaps. That was wrong. Because the mother lied to her. She should have called her and asked, why are you asking? This is what it is, a bad word for sex. It is another word, and have that conversation. We cannot blame our children for what we have not taught them. Therefore, we must begin to teach them. Thank you very much.
I'm so happy to be here today. Today we've heard a lot about women vulnerability. I am a woman, but I refuse to be vulnerable. I'm determined to stand against all odds and face the future. Well, I know who I am. My name is Titi Ejimagua. Why am I here? I am here to challenge all of us today that you can be whatsoever you want to be. Nobody has the right to determine who you should be. You are not meant to be subservient. You are meant to take the lead. You are a woman. You have multitasking. If you can manage your home, your husband, your children, your other family, even manage your work, then there is more to you than what you even imagine. How then, what then can you do? What is in it for you? How then can you actualize what God has actually imbibed in you? Many of us don't know that ènìyàn láṣọ mi. Nobody's an island. We all have people around us. We have friends, we have colleagues, we have neighbors, we have church members, mosque members, we have enemies. We have everybody around us. When I came in here yesterday, and I'm here today, and I look around, I don't know what you have seen. What I'm seeing is money. Because I love money. What are you seeing? What do you think? When you turn around, what do you see? You see people, I see money. Because ènìyàn láṣọ wa. That very phrase have a very deep meaning. We all think that it just means that my people are my coverage. No, it's deeper than that. It means that with human resources amidst you, around you, you can actually achieve anything you want to achieve. Nothing can inhibit you. Nothing can limit you. You are unlimited. You are the only one that can limit yourself. Except you decide to just live within your island. Now, what am I talking about? I am saying that it is time for us to have passive stream of income. Passive stream of income. Yes, we are all already very, very active. We are all working. We have one thing or the other that we are doing already. And it's already solving our problems, putting food on our table. And that's the reason why we are here today. We are wives. We are mothers. But what then can we now do to make extra income? Just changing your brand. Just switch your brand to a brand that makes sense. Today in Nigeria, today in Lagos State, Longreach was just 6 years old last week. But right about now, Longreach is building their factory, their industry in this zone, free trade zone and Lekki Epe axis. We are investing over $20 million to do that. Why? Because we know that we need to empower ourselves. We know that we need to do more than we are doing. Well, my time is up, unfortunately, and I don't want to take so much of our time, but really, you can always get back to me. We are here with you at shop 26. Then you will know more about language. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it.
We are one. We are Cowsol, and we stand by our husbands. We are the
for today, for this session, is children having children. Children are classified as anything below age 18 is a child. And as you're well aware, it's very unhealthy that children should have children. Unfortunately, in our society, these incidences have been going up. As high as 110 per 1,000 childbirths are by children. We have a specialist here who's going to give us a short lecture on this topic.
Thank you very much, Dr. Are. Good afternoon, Your Excellency, other distinguished excellencies here, and distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I will crave your indulgence to please stand up for this presentation, and I would also crave your indulgence that in the process of the presentation, I will be speaking at times in my mother tongue, even though I will do my best to do justice to it. Now, this topic is something that's very passionate to my heart. And when I was asked to come and speak about it, I thought, where do we start from? But first of all, just so we know, they've been introducing me as Dr. Veronica Ayovoni Wayemi. But Dr. Frenio won't say Dr. Alabere. I'm just me. So, let's start. I want to give you two case scenarios about two young ladies. Folake is a 16-year-old from a low-income family whereby her mother sells boli. Her father is a vulcanizer. Folake helps the family to sell oranges on the street. She hawks. She's exposed to so many miscreants, so many social vices. And in the process, Folake has learned how to understand the concept of friends for benefit. Tí òun bá bá wọn, àwọn ọkùnrin like Folake, wọ́n dẹ̀ ti jẹ́ kó mọ̀ pé, she can earn money with her body. Unfortunately, Folake does not have a role model. And in the process, she doesn't understand the consequences. She doesn't have information. She's unable to make informed decisions. Folake gets pregnant. Folake decides, mommy ò gbọdọ̀ gbọ́, daddy ò gbọdọ̀ gbọ́, kí la ti máa wí? So she tries, she talks to her peers, and she uses alum and some other forms that her peers encourage her to use. Now we'll come back to Folake towards the end of my presentation to know what happened. On the other hand, we have Femi and his girlfriend, Nene. Femi is 15, Nene is 16. They're from affluent homes. London today for mommy, New York tomorrow. Femi and Nene are well taken care of by the maid. They have money at their disposal because the parents feel, I'm not around, but my children should not lack. It's not bad, but the unfortunate thing, Femi needs school. I mean, gbogbo àwọn ẹgbẹ́ wọn láti ń ṣe kínní náà. Ọmọ wa já sí. Tí Fẹ́mi ò bá já sí, tí Nene ò bá já sí, it feels as if they're not part of their peers. Gbogbo wa la jókòó síbi, gbogbo wa la ní ẹgbẹ́. If I ask, if you are, whether it's the body of permanent secretaries or you are from the bodies of Iyalojas, you all have peers that you want to look like. We all know that we want to be someone. No man is an island. And because all their friends are sleeping with each other, gbogbo wọn ló ti ń bára wọn sùn pọ̀. Femi and Nene start to sleep with each other. She gets pregnant, and because the money is there, they decide to go for abortion. Understanding that abortion in Nigeria is illegal, and therefore, they went to a quack. First time, they did it, and because it was so easy, nobody caught them. Nene gets pregnant intermittently, and they keep having abortions. We'll come back to Nene. Now, back to the topic of children having children. In order to best understand this topic, it's best for us to understand the very concept of who is a child. And in doing that, we need to understand that for a child, for a teenager, just like all of us, there are intrinsic factors and extrinsic factors that affect a child. When I say intrinsic, I'm saying, and we know that our body has needs, and there are things that comes. I mean, pornography, like the last speaker said, on the phone. Femi and Nene have access, so they access it, and because their parents are not there, there's no parental guidance on the phone, there's none on the laptop, so they can access this. Even when they don't access it, it pops up on their phone. And so therefore, that urge is coming out, and there's nobody to help them address this. Because whether we like it or not, puberty will come in. They will get to that stage where they have to grow, and yet they have no information. They are helpless. Now, having said that, there are extrinsic factors. That's the family, the environment. Folake did not have a choice. She's born into a low-income family. Poverty plays a role, a significant role. Apart from the fact that she doesn't have knowledge, she has to help her parents earn money. And what easier way? Men are willing to pay for it. That means she can sit with the vulcanizer, one of her father's friends, not go around in the hot sun selling oranges, and she will still go home with money. It's very easy. So, hormones are playing their own roles. Intrinsic. Extrinsic, their peers are playing their roles. The social media is playing its role, and the family also. So, what is our definition? You can define a child any which way you want. But the fact of the matter is, if you're a lawyer, you may want to say, oh, it's a minor that has not reached the age of maturity. But the Federal Republic of Nigeria declares that anyone under the age of 18 is a child. So whether we're talking about a newborn, we're talking about an infant, a toddler, or we're talking about an adolescent or a teenager, they are children. Now, data, let me give you some data. And then for now, data kan tó jẹ́ pé ẹ lè fi rí nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní gbogbo àgbáyé. Torí pé ọ̀rọ̀ tó wà nílẹ̀ yìí kò ń ṣọ̀rọ̀ Nàìjíríà nìkan. Ó ń lọ káàkiri gbogbo àgbáyé ni. WHO dẹ̀ ti sọ pé ọ̀rọ̀ tó ń fúnyàn ní kàyéfì ni. Ó dẹ̀ yẹ ká mójútó. Now, globally, WHO estimates that 16 million of our girls, 16 million of àwọn ọmọ wa obìnrin, láti ọmọdún márùndínlógún títí wọ ọ̀kàndínlógún are getting pregnant annually. It is estimated that in Africa, we have the highest rate of teenage pregnancies across the whole world. And 15 million of these are children who are under the age of 18 being given into early marriages. Now, we're going to come back to the concept of early marriage. But also, out of this 15 million, a lot of them are below 16 years. And there was sorrow orílẹ̀-èdè wa ti Nigeria. Kí ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀ nínú Nigeria? We are ranking. ipò kẹrìndínlógún nínú gbogbo ìlú tó wà ní Africa. We are ranking 16th for teenage pregnancy. And we have a pregnancy rate of approximately 112 children, young girls, for every 1,000 giving birth. That is a lot. It is one child, one girl child, too many. So, whether we like it or not, irrespective of what we think and what we know, irrespective of the social class where our children are coming from, irrespective of their background, who their parents are, these children, when exposed to social vices, exposed to media, exposed to so many things, are going to be susceptible to becoming a child that is going to have a child. Now, why are they having children? Ede asoro, sibitoro wa. Kí ló ń gbà àwọn ọmọ wa kó máa bára wọn lò pọ̀? One, curiosity. Ọmọ mi, she's growing, her body is changing. She doesn't understand, and mommy is afraid. She doesn't know, yes, we have come from the age of, mommy will say, when I was growing up, my mom used to say, when you touch a guy, you get pregnant. I'm glad that nowadays we don't do that. A lot of mothers have become experienced, and they approach it better. But there are some children that just out of curiosity, they want to know what it feels like. Then, of course, there are those who lack information. It's one thing to be curious. It's another thing for you to know why and what is the consequence. Ọmọ mi kàn fẹ́ ṣe ni, ṣùgbọ́n kò sẹ́ni tó fún ní ìmọ̀ràn, kò sẹ́ni tó fún ní ọgbọ́n àti òye ń pé, wow, nǹkan tó fẹ́ ṣe yìí. Ó kù díẹ̀ káàtó. And therefore, they lack parental guidance. Like I said, Femi and Nene, when we were growing up, there was that song, London today, New York tomorrow, and who takes care of the children? That is Femi and Nene's life. Their parents are all over the place trying to make a living. It's not bad to make a living, but at the same time, they have a responsibility to their children. And so, peer pressure in school. Have you been to the Facebook of children in schools, in affluent schools? You'll be surprised some of the things you see on Instagram. There are people who will pay for young girls to twerk. There are men on the internet that will pay them to come and expose their body. And when there's no role model, no parental guidance, anything goes. And then, of course, Folake, on curioso. If you don't think curioso, many don't balo jutiti. Monkoton sofu. There are pedophiles. Pedophiles are awanton ba omode lopo. They will attract Folake with money. There are so many cases we see when I used to work at Bagada General Hospital. Uncle Tong Beni face you, face me. Sweet, candy. Akpe wasi toilet. Imi, nkoke kere, toti mo pomode like. Ade sọ fún pé má sọ fún mommy ẹ. Wọ́n gbé wọn sórí ẹsẹ̀. Wọ́n máa ṣe oríṣiríṣi pẹ̀lú wọn. Ẹ̀yin ò ní mọ̀ ẹ dẹ̀ máa rò pé uncle yìí àwọn ọmọ mi like ẹ. Ẹ má rò pé uncle nìkan ni o. Auntie pàápàá. Because a máa ń gbàgbé pé even ọmọkùnrin, they rape them. I had a mature man once. When did you lose your virginity? He said, Auntie Nurse ni. Auntie Nurse, mommy tells us to stay with her, and Auntie Nurse abused him. But he didn't think it was a big deal. It was fashionable to say I slept with an older woman. And so some of them decide to go into these activities, but they have no knowledge. They are ignorant of family planning. Because they are sorrow, si bitoro. Ọmọ tó bá ti rò pé máa ṣe, ó máa ṣe. Tá bá fún ní ìmọ̀. And if they're going to be exposed, then we need to give them tools to help them make informed decisions and not get pregnant. So, apart from the one that decides to engage and doesn't know about family planning, there are those that they pa ọ̀nà àti fètò sọmọ bíbí ṣùgbọ́n òfin ìlú wa kò gbà wọ́n nímọ̀ràn bẹ́ẹ̀. Kò gbà àwa pàápàá ní doctor ní àyè láti fún ọmọ because our laws does not stipulate age at which I, as a doctor, can give a child access to family planning if she asks for it. In England and other places, they will tell you from 16. If the child comes to ask for it, I can give. The fact is, ọmọ tó bá ti náà ò fẹ́ ṣe, àti ní kẹ̀sì tó yẹ pé òbí máa ní ká má fún, ọmọ á tún padà wá lẹ́yìn. Á ní ẹ̀wọ̀ àǹtí, èmi ń ṣe o, ẹ fún mi o. It puts us, medical practitioners, in a difficult position. My first call is to save lives. I have to choose. Do I help this girl or do I work with the parents? You are giving me a hard task when there are no policies to enable me do the best I can for both the child and our society. And then we've talked about the lack of policy and parental denial. As parents, I know it's hard, it's challenging to bring up a child. But whichever way, we have to understand that children are susceptible to so many things. And we owe it to them to give them the tools to make the right decision. Even if we're afraid, start from somewhere. The journey of 1,000 miles starts with just a little step. And so, kí ni nǹkan tó ń gbà àwọn ọmọ wa láti máa ṣe láti tó lè fà á káwọn ọmọ wa lóyún? One, lack of moral and sexual education. In our schools, we do health education. Health education, ó yàtọ̀ sí sexual education. There's a huge difference. We need to start teaching the children. Even from somebody asked at what age? We were discussing there. They need to know their space. Do not encroach into my space. It is not for uncle to put them on the lap. I don't want to tell you what uncle can do with that. She needs to know what are these called so that she can tell her mom, because really these children are more intelligent than you give them credit for. And therefore, we need to engage in moral and sexual education. Another course is breakdown in communication. I'll tell you a story. When I was 7 years old, we were in England, and it was a school that was filled with Caucasians, and we were the only black family. And all my friends, I wanted to fit in. All my friends were having boyfriends. And you know, I just went and I said, Mommy, my friends are having boyfriends. I'm not any boyfriend. And Mommy opened a jaw, ghastly like this. Mom, wherever you are, thank you. And she was surprised. But she didn't formulate it. Honey, she sat me down, and we had the talk of the birds and the bees. Because of me, we moved back to Nigeria early. Because my mom knew the situation there is not giving me the right moral advantage to become the person she wants me to be. And we came back to Nigeria. It was tough. I had old boys labeled all over my wall. You know the magazine, Old Boy? I had a lot of things. But thank God for grace. This is me today. Now, having said that, another cause. So, communication is essential between parents and children. Another one is lack of role models. We need role models. We need you to, a child, especially a child, for instance, living in Makoko, don't Tabogwe, needs to have someone to look up to. Imagine if any of our first ladies go to meet them and ask them, lead focus groups. That is an experience you will never forget for their life. Now, another one, we've talked about peer pressure. And then, of course, we talked about media influence. I'm not going to go back to it because we had a well-detailed lecture. And then there is exposure to alcohol and drugs. Even the child that's not drinking. She becomes susceptible, inhibited. Yes. And so, poverty too plays another role. And early marriage. Let me come back to that. Some of us in our marriage are still having issues, working out our marriages. We haven't gotten it right yet. So do we have a right, a moral right, to expose a child under 18 to what we as adults have not gotten right yet? I don't think it is fair. So we need policies to protect our children. Now, what are the implications? The fact is, there are health implications and there are social implications. For the mother, because hospital antenatal. So, in the process, Folake, potash ara but Folake fe bimo inu gbombi kan atupada si yen. But because she's not taking antenatal, there are a lot of complications. Anemia, gbogbo ẹ̀, kò róúnjẹ jẹ dáadáa. Remember, poverty is the problem. Ẹni tí ò róúnjẹ jẹ dáadáa, ṣé ọmọ tó wà nínú ẹ̀ náà máa rí dáadáa róúnjẹ jẹ? And then there's Femi and Nene went for abortion. Post-pregnancy complication. Folake, just to give you a little, obi ọmọ yẹn, but there was complication. Then in some cases you have complications to the child because the child that's not feeding well from inside the mother may be born small. Ọmọ yẹn ó máa ní wàhálà lọ́jọ́ iwájú. Even cognitive, ìtó bá survive. Àwọn la máa ní ọmọ ti yọ ọmọkọ́mọ. Àmọ́ nǹkan tó ti ṣẹlẹ̀ láti inú wa. And so, to the teenage mother, let's look at it. When family and friends and the society, even ẹni tó fún lóyún á ní sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn o, jọ sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn náà, and reject her. And then she wants to kill herself. Tí gbọ́n pa suicide. She will try to kill herself, try to kill the baby. And this is what happens. Naturally in Nigeria, if you're pregnant, you will drop out of school. Babe, there's no two way about it. The law of Nigeria does not allow you to be walking around school pregnant because we don't want to encourage other children. And so that means Folake never even went to school. But Nene, if she had left the pregnancy, will attain lower educational attainment. And that means low productivity, which means poverty, another cycle. And with poverty, a burden to the parents because àwọn òbí ló máa máa tọ́jú ló máa máa fún àti ìyá tó lóyún lóúnjẹ tó bá tún bí ọmọ. And because kò jẹun dáadáa, poor nutrition will lead to health complications. In the end, what we're breeding is that possibility pé either Folake or Nene ọmọ kú, tó bá dẹ̀ kú, ọmọ tán bá bí náà wọ́n lè kú. High maternal and child mortality. Now, for us, ní primary health care, àwọn nǹkan tá à ń ṣe ni. We have 298 primary health care centers in Lagos State. And out of this, 57 of them offer comprehensive maternal and child health services. Please, Lagos is the center of excellence. We're not there yet, but we are getting there. A round of applause for the governor of this wonderful state. You have to understand that in Lagos, people keep coming in. And our population is skyrocketing. So even the little we have for the indigenes are not enough. So like Oliver Twist, we are asking for more. We need more help. And we have a teen moms clinic. What is a teen moms clinic? Ní Lagos Island, I report àwọn ọmọ tó ń bímọ pọ̀, àwọn sisi, àwọn fáwọn tó bá ti wá fún antenatal, a máa yọ wọ́n síta lọ́tọ̀. And we now try to rehabilitate them, working with WAPA, Ministry of Education, all stakeholders to help them because they're out of school. To become more productive within that 9 months. Or else, repeat cycle. And so, what do we need you to help us do? Cowsol, there are so many people here. There are policymakers, there are lawmakers. We need you to help us. I cannot work without a law. There must be a policy to address all these issues. There must be a policy that gives me an open window for any teenager that has decided. I'm not saying I want to promote promiscuity, but if they've decided, they should be able to access family planning irrespective of age. There must be a budget line. Family is free in Lagos State and even across Nigeria. But Sherry Nidu, abẹ́rẹ́ gbogbo ẹ̀ tá máa lò, cotton wool, kò ń ṣọ̀fẹ́, owó ní gbogbo nǹkan, owó ní kókó. There must be a budget line for family planning consumables. To our chairmen, you are the custodians of the PHCs at the LGA. We need funding for maternal and child health services. Because it is through these services that we can help the few that have made the mistake, that have made the wrong, uninformed decision, so that their lives will still be productive. And to the council members, to NGOs and CSOs, please, first thing, we want you to champion policy change. We want you to help us talk to the government, to the three arms of government, executive, legislative, and judiciary, that we need policies that will address the issue that is on ground. We need policies that will go against child marriage. Now, we need sensitization. That means we want you to help us lead meetings to them. We want you to help us talk to them about increasing funding. Hello. Then, of course, we want you to support media coverage. You see, there's nothing as good as when somebody renowned comes out and speaks for a cause. people will listen. Tí ìyá lọ́jà bá sọ nǹkan sìn, gbogbo wa la máa gbọ́. So please champion maternal and child health courses. Then identify, like we identified T.Y. Bello yesterday. Please identify more people that teenagers can relate with so that they can champion this cause. And then support focus group discussion. Like I said, if any of our first ladies goes into Makoko today, the young girls will be like, First Lady Lagos, mom, Shogbo. They will be so glad to have you sitting and asking them, what are the issues? How can we help you? Please, a day in your schedule will go a long way in the life of a teenager.
Doc,
so we need role models. But in order, I'm concluding, I do apologize. In order to fulfill what Lagos State has started, the dream and the policies of His Excellency, that our system should deliver efficient and effective maternal and child health services in this great state. We need you to help us. Because an investment in healthcare, and not just healthcare and education, is an investment in our future. Because these are our future. It's an investment in our society. It is an investment in our children. It is us producing the next generations of great men and women. Therefore, as we advance, we need to start becoming a healthy city.
Summarize, please.
So, I'm asking you to please help us. Folake, in the end, went into the bush, had the baby, put it in a nylon bag, and suffocated the baby, and threw it in the garbage. She went home, but she started bleeding. She didn't tell anybody. And by the time she had bled so badly, the parents rushed her to the hospital. Folake padanu emi, ibelokusi. There wasn't much we could do. Nene had been having so many abortions. In the end, she developed a syndrome, a severe infection, and a syndrome called Asherman syndrome. Inu ile omo e, o lepo, kò lè bímọ. Ọjọ́ iwájú, wàhálà mi nìyẹn máa tún fà. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́, à ń bẹ̀ yín ní ẹ̀yin ìyá wa. Ẹ bá wa wá nǹkan ṣe sọ́rọ̀ yìí. Àwa gẹ́gẹ́ bí dókítà àti ń ṣe títí wa. You need to help us too.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wright. Thank you very much. The topic seems to be to have had an inadequate time. We enjoyed her discussion. And any questions from the audience? Or translation first? The translator? No. Any questions? Suggestions? Opinions? I remember vividly, as far back as 1983, a 10-year-old was impregnated by her teacher. 10-year-old. So these things have been around for some time. Just for 50 kobo, one stupid amount of money. So I hope we have benefited from this lecture and something conclusive and good will come of it. Thank you very much.
My name is Dr. Toyin Okenla Ojaga. I'm a women's health nurse practitioner, and my specialty is women's health. I want to know what steps we are taking to encourage our mothers to teach our children sex education right from home, because that's where it's supposed to start from before it gets down to the primary school's education.
Your Excellencies, my name is Mrs. Inka Adeyemi. I'm Director Office of the Public Defender. I'm really very glad that this topic is being held today, because as we are speaking now, we are trying to amend the child rights law. And one of the things that we discussed and became a controversial issue is just what our doctor has just spoken about, and that is the reproductive health, the rights of the reproductive health of our girls. And it became so heated yesterday, on Monday, because we started on Monday, that from different, school of thought, it is believed that why would we give these children the opportunity to express themselves, to decide what they want to do with their reproductive health? And I'm glad now that the doctor is telling us. I'm able to say that I'm going to call my people at that meeting because they're still there, they're leaving tomorrow, to insist that we should have this in our law, where our children will be protected. Because this is what will keep on happening if we do not put that right in our child rights law. Thank you.
Yes, my name is Tola Rotimi. I lay credence to what my colleague, Mrs. Adeyemi, just said. She has spoken half of what I want to say. But then, when we are talking about teenage pregnancies, we have to face some realities. And this is an example of what I have, that has happened, or people coming to my office in the past. And this is when a child, when we talk of a child, we are talking of a child under the age of 18 years. Even 17 years plus a day to the 18th birthday is still a child. And then the boy is 17 plus. The girl is 16 plus. And the 17-year-old impregnates the 16-year-old. Then when you now see them rushing to us, you will see the mother saying, I want that boy prosecuted. He impregnated my child. Forgetting that that boy also is also a child. And then now we now begin to think, under the law, he is a child. Under the law, she is a child. So we now have a case of a child impregnating a child. What does the law say? And this happens a lot. It happens a lot. And if you look at the statistics, that is what we have among secondary school children. Now, it happens a lot, and how do we deal with it? You see the mother of the child wanting their own pound of flesh. And we say, okay, you can have your own pound of flesh, but you cannot draw blood. Because that boy too, the mother of the boy too has a right to say, but your child enticed my son. And that is what happens too. So your child also enticed my son to have intercourse with him. So also, your child also should be prosecuted. So this is one of the things that we parents, we have to sit and think about. Yes, like my colleague Mrs. Adeyemi has said, these are the things we are looking at to change and to put some things, some flesh into the Child Rights Act in Lagos State so that we can address all these issues. So even our health people, they have to have an answer to it. Parents, mothers of the girl that is pregnant, mother of the boy that is 17-year-old that is also a child. Food for thought for all of us. Thank you.
To answer the question about what we're doing about sex education, I want to, when we do primary health care services, maternal and child health, even though we're providing services at the PHC, in the facility, we have health educators that are in the community. And not only them, we have people that support our work. If you are a World Health Committee member in this auditorium today, please signify your hand by raising your hand. A World Health Committee member. Honestly, I have to stand and give an ovation to these people. They go around and they help us to talk to mothers within the community, to educate them, to do the outreaches that we, as medical officers, cannot go out into the community to do. They get the word out. They are not given any stipend. They are not paid anything. They volunteer their time. And so, a round of applause to every World Health Committee member here. We need structures like this because gone are the days of it takes a village to train a child. Most of us live in our own little community now. But we need people like this that still have a sense of compassion, a sense of responsibility and devotion to their fellow neighbors. It's not about what can I do? It's about what can we do? Because where there is a will, there's a way. And yes, we can. Thank you.
Thank you very much, all the contributors, questions, and suggestions. And thank you very much to our guest speaker for that interesting topic. I hope we've all taken something away from this. Thank you.
We are one. We are Cowsol, and we stand by our husbands.
When I go for meetings, particularly weddings. The song says, Oyi biri biri komi. Now, many times when we sing that song in weddings, we talk about good and positive things. But also, that song applies to every aspect of life. Oyi biri biri will come to us at a particular point in time. So a time will come in our life when we get to a particular age known as the midlife. Irrespective of how we make ourselves, adorn ourselves, make ourselves beautiful, we get to a particular age known as the midlife. Now, it is important for us to understand that when we get to that age, there are certain things that will happen to all of us, irrespective of how we take care of ourselves, irrespective of all the aesthetic and cosmetic attributes we add to ourselves. There are certain things that will happen to all of us. And there are certain things that will happen to only some of us. So I'm going to talk about those things that will happen to all of us at first, then I will talk about those things that will happen to some of us. Now, that age that we're talking about is the age that ranges from 40 to 60 years. That is the age classified as the midlife. And this topic is chosen in the sense that every one of us here, if you are not in that age range, we are rapidly approaching that age range. So, oyi biri biri komi, we are going to get there. Now, the beautiful thing about women of today is that you can see a woman of about 65 years or 70 years, she looks like she's 30 years. As a matter of fact, there's a saying that says 25 is the new 50. So you see a 50-year-old woman looking like she's 25 years old, looking so beautiful like a 25-year-old. Like many of you women are here, you are looking as if you are less than 30 years old. All of you are looking beautiful. However, there are certain changes that are taking place inside of you that no amount of aesthetic or cosmetic lift will be able to rectify those things. And those are the things we are going to talk about today. Now, these are the areas of concern. I will quickly move on to this slide. Now, if you look at this slide, we notice that when we get to this age, we begin to have challenges in different areas. That is the age we really don't like our jobs again. We complain about our jobs. We complain about our marriages. We complain about our children. Know that you are getting to the midlife. You complain about virtually everything. When they call for old girls association meeting, you don't want to go because you are comfortable more in certain environments. So that's the age that you get to. Now, during this period, you begin to chase undefined goals. You may begin to feel as if maybe if you look more beautiful, it will be better for you. If you buy more handbags, if you do more cosmetics, it will be better for you. You are getting to that age. Now, what do? There's nothing wrong about aging. You must adopt a positive attitude to aging. If you desire long life, you definitely age. But it's better for you to age gracefully. And that's what we are trying to move towards. Now, one of the things that you are going to focus on are two key things that you can do for yourself. One is exercise. The other one is your dietary adjustments. If you used to consume a lot of carbohydrates, you need to rebalance that. Esther will be talking a lot about that, so I won't go into that for much. Now, one definite thing that will happen to every woman when she gets towards the age of 50 is what we refer to as the menopause. Now, the menopause is beyond cessation of menstruation. It's beyond that. Now, I'll tell you a little story. Now, I had a patient who was about 48 years old, and she has been taking anti-malarials every single month. She would say she has monthly fever. I said, that's not possible. She said every time she goes to the hospital, either they're treating her for typhoid fever, they're treating her for malaria fever. When I took her history and I examined and investigated her, I realized that she was moving towards the menopause. So one of the things I want to take away from here is that when you feel feverish regularly, it's not malaria that you have. You likely are moving towards the climacteric. The climacteric is that period of transition before you get to the menopause. And there are certain things that you must keep in mind when you get to that age. Now, hot flashes is some of the things that you experience a lot. Every woman will experience it after some time, and you should get used to that. It's worse normally at night, so I encourage the women at that point in time that is when you have to use light clothing to sleep. This is the point in time you must have your air conditioner on most of the time. If there is no PHCN to support you, please get a generator. Now, another aspect of the menopause that is also affected is the woman's sexual interest and sexual frequency. Now, because the sexual interest is going to decrease for every woman at this particular age in time because of the drop in the level of the estrogen, the woman may have reduced interest in sexual intercourse. And that's the time that, the man at home will begin to complain a lot that the woman has lost interest completely. It's not her fault, it's the menopause that is making her lose that interest. Another feeling that when they have sexual intercourse, it becomes very difficult for them. They feel a lot of pain and discomfort, soreness, and abnormal sensation during sexual intercourse. It's not because she's lost interest or she's lost form, it's because of the menopause. Now, what are the solutions? Now, hormone replacement therapy involves the use of certain hormones, estrogen and progesterone, to support the woman during this stage of her life. But I'm mentioning it here to discourage it. Hormone replacement therapy has been associated with some malignancies. So it's not the kind of medication that any woman will just go to the store and obtain and begin to use, except, of course, if that woman has had her uterus removed. Even if she has had her uterus removed, she will still have challenges and increased risk of breast cancer, which I will talk about in this presentation. Now, another challenge that woman will have at this stage is that the woman may find it difficult to control urine. So a woman who normally will be able to keep urine for hours, when she's getting to the age of the menopause, when she's pressed, she will find it difficult to keep urine. Also, when she's involved in activity such as laughter or just excited, she can pass little quantities of urine, and so suffer from urinary incontinence. Now, what is the solution to that? You want to begin to practice what we refer to as the Kegel exercise. Now, what is Kegel exercise? Early in life, before you get to the menopause, when you are passing urine, you stop for a second, hold your urine back, then continue. As you keep doing that exercise over a period of time, the pelvic floor becomes reinforced, and as the pelvic floor becomes reinforced, it will reduce your risk of developing urinary incontinence later in life. Now, you should go into a regular sleep schedule, as that will help. This is not a time for you to keep late nights. It's a time where you have to manage your sleep hygiene very well and ensure that you get adequate rest. That this will help to improve your health. During sexual intercourse, vaginal moisturizers will become very useful at this point in time. Women who go into the menopause before the age of 40 are said to have gone into what we refer to as the early menopause. That is an abnormality and should be investigated. I want to just say that during the menopausal transition stage, which is between the age of 40 to 52 years, a woman can still get pregnant. So if you know you don't want to get pregnant, please make use of family planning techniques and contraception. Now we're talking about these 4 common health conditions that women will face. Then my wife will talk about the others. Now, fibroid is the commonest gynecological condition that any woman will experience. As a matter of fact, when you get to the age of 40, the risk of having fibroid is 1 in 2. So in this population, 50% of women here present will likely have uterine fibroid. Now, but there's a good news. It's not all fibroids that needs intervention. Most women with fibroids, we need to do nothing. I get to the clinic many times and women come to me and said, "Doctor, they said I have fibroid." And what I tell them, congratulations. If a woman must have a gynecological condition, if you must have one, let it be fibroid. Fibroid is the most friendly gynecological abnormality to have. It's the most friendly. I know that in some instances, it can cause miscarriages. In some instances, it can cause infertility. But if you must have one bad gynecological condition at the age of 40 to 60, and you've had children, if you must have one bad one, just let it be fibroid. Now, another condition that most women may have to challenge at this age is cancer of the breast. Now, cancer of the breast is the commonest female cancer. It's the commonest worldwide. As a matter of fact, 1 in 10 women in some countries will come down with cancer of the breast. Now, cancer of the breast is a very interesting cancer for one reason. It doesn't respect risk factors. If you are a woman, you are at risk of having cancer of the breast for the remaining part of your life. The only reason why your risk is high is for being a woman. Although cancer of the breast can occur in men also, but it's not as common as you have it in women. Women have the highest incidence, highest occurrence of cancer of the breast. It's sporadic in about 90% of the cases. What that means is that you don't need to have any risk factor. In 90% of the cases, you don't need to have any risk factors. So long as you are a woman and you are alive, you are continuously at risk of having cancer of the breast. However, there are certain conditions that will predispose to cancer of the breast. One, a family history of breast cancer. If you have a family history of breast cancer, you have a higher risk of developing breast cancer. In 5 to 10% of cases of breast cancer, family history of breast cancer is associated with higher risk. A woman who attained a menarche, who started seeing her period very early, is at higher risk of developing breast cancer. A woman who goes into the menopause very late is at higher risk of developing breast cancer. A woman who has used hormone replacement therapy that I mentioned earlier on to discourage is at higher risk of developing breast cancer. A woman who has very few children or have no child at all is at higher risk of developing breast cancer. A woman who has a particular defect known as in genetic defect referred to as BRCA gene 1 and 2 is at risk of developing breast cancer. So you can see that breast cancer, as it were, anybody, any woman can develop breast cancer. Now, what do you do to prevent it? First and most important thing is that you must engage in self-breast examination. That's most important. 2, you must do your routine gynecological review every year, annually. And that involves mammography or breast ultrasound. 3, let me tell you the most important one. Irrespective of what you've done before in the past, even if you've had normal results, if you notice any change in your breast, probably the size of your breast has increased from what it was before, you notice a mass over your breast, or the skin color over your breast has changed, you must see your doctor immediately, even if you've had a normal mammogram. It's very important. Now, you forget everything I've said about breast cancer, never forget this, that I said that if you have any changes in your breast, in the size of your breast, nodule in your breast, skin changes in your breast, you must see your doctor immediately. Now, talking about cancer of the cervix. Cancer of the cervix is the second commonest gynecological cancer. Second commonest gynecological cancer. And the thing about cancer of the cervix is that people who are at risk already have the risk factors exposed to them. Now, one is that cancer of the cervix will not occur in anybody who has never had sex. In fact, cancer of the cervix is seen as a sexually transmissible condition because of the organism that causes cancer of the cervix, a virus known as human papilloma virus. Now, the good news is that cancer of the cervix in the developed world is almost eliminated because vaccines are available that will currently prevent the next generation of women, young girls, from developing cancer of the cervix. And these vaccines are available, and they are available, and you can access them to prevent cancer of the cervix in the next generation, but not for this particular age range. If you're up to the age of 40, you don't need to take vaccine for cancer of the cervix. Reason, at that age, you would have cleared all of the viruses responsible for cancer of the cervix. And if you've not, those that are left will not do you much harm anyway. What you need to do at that point in time is to keep going for your routine annual gynecological check, where they will have pap smear done for you or HPV test done. So I want to emphasize this point again, that taking vaccine at the age of 100 is not necessary for cancer of the cervix. As a matter of fact, if you are up to 65 years old, you should stop screening for cancer of the cervix. 65 years, you stop screening. If you are 65 years, you stop screening, because if you don't have cancer of the cervix up to that age, you don't need to screen again for it, because the changes that will lead to cancer of the cervix, before it will happen, it would have been like 150 years, 120 years. That's not necessary. Likely not be alive at that point in time. So the targeted news for you, for the particular age range, is that if you have children, if you have daughters, give them HPV vaccination. If you are under 40 years of age, it is important for you to discuss with your doctor if you should have HPV vaccination or not. If you are above 40 or 60, you don't need to be vaccinated. What you need to do is to do annual check for cancer of the cervix. Now, talking about cancer of the ovary. Cancer of the ovary, we don't talk about it so much, but it's one of the cancers that can kill because it is discovered at a very late age. The peak age incidence of cancer of the ovary is 60 years of age. And most of the time when it is found, it is already advanced. Most cases of cancer of the ovary occurs when they are stage 3 or stage 4, when you can do nothing. Now, for most of these stages of cancer of the cervix, life expectancy is very, very short. When a woman is diagnosed with cancer of the cervix, there's a risk that before 3 years from diagnosis, she will likely die. Now, what do you do to prevent cancer of the ovary? Cancer of the ovary can be prevented by having your routine annual medical check. During those checks, ensure that you ask your doctor to perform a pelvic ultrasound for you, because pelvic ultrasound will be able to pick abnormal changes in the size of the ovary when you go over for pelvic ultrasonography. Annual gynecological exam. If you notice, everything I've said, it is better for you to prevent it by going for your annual gynecological exams. Now, many women find it very embarrassing or discomforting to go for annual gynecological exams, because the gynecological exams involve an internal exam on the woman. But it's very important. There's no way your gynecologist can assess the organs of your pelvis without an annual gynecological exam that involves an internal exam. It's very important. So if you go and have an gynecological exam and they don't do a digital exam for you like this, or they don't do some ultrasound to check your ovaries and other structures, you likely have not had a thorough job. So I want to, at this point in time, conclude by introducing my wife, the lovely and beautiful Dr. Esther Ngozi Oyihoin, to come and tell you about cardiac conditions in women. Now, I saved the best for the last. I'm sure you will enjoy our presentation better than mine. Round of applause for her.
We'll talk about cardiovascular diseases. Cardiovascular diseases. Cardiovascular diseases are diseases of and involving the heart. And cardiovascular diseases are actually also diseases involving the blood vessels. So when we say cardiovascular, it's both the heart and the blood vessels, and it's a combination of both. Next slide. Now, the epidemiology of cardiovascular diseases, it constitutes a major public health challenge, especially for low-income and middle-income countries where we belong. And 80% of the deaths from cardiovascular diseases are occurring here. And the reason is because there are other competing variables and priorities for the resources that are available for health care. Now, what are some examples of cardiovascular diseases? Go back a bit, yes. Now, some of these examples are, I want to take you to that slide. Yes. We're not done. Okay, so take it back, please. Take it back. Yes, just a moment. I want you to quickly see this. Now, some of the things that are actually cardiovascular diseases for us are things that occur at particular ages. Now, one of them is diseases involving the heart and the blood vessels, and include high blood pressure, popularly known as hypertension. Now, myocardial infarction is simply the term that refers to a heart attack. We also have cerebrovascular accidents, popularly known as a stroke. And we have peripheral vascular diseases. This just talks about diseases involving vessels that are far away from the heart. Now, what are the risk factors? Other examples are included in this. Dyslipidemia, meaning abnormal cholesterol. Sometimes it's not just enough to have cholesterol that is high. You could also have cholesterol that is high, but in disproportionate amount. So perhaps cholesterol is low, but if the standard proportions of this cholesterol are abnormal, it's also known as dyslipidemia. We also have heart failure. Diabetes mellitus is regarded as a cardiovascular disease. Chronic kidney diseases is a cardiovascular disease. And cardiomyopathy simply stands for other diseases of the heart muscles that will constitute a condition. Now, we have modifiable and non-modifiable risk factors. And I'll quickly explain what they are. Now, modifiable risk factors are risk factors you can do something about. Non-modifiable risk factors are things we can't do anything about. Now, there's a popular riddle that says, what goes up and never comes down is the easiest. Once my son said it to me and I said, you don't know what, this is an age-long riddle. Now, increasing age is a risk factor for cardiovascular diseases. For males, it's greater than 55 years, and for females, we're luckier. 10 years later than that, we stand a bigger risk. Before now, the risk factor, before these ages I talked about, the ratio is 2-to-1 in favor of the males. Now, the male gender, unfortunately, is a risk factor. So in this one, we're blessed. Family history is a risk factor. So if there's a family history of a cardiovascular disease, family history of hypertension, diabetes mellitus, cholesterol abnormalities, or family history of sudden unexplained death, especially deaths before the age of 55, they constitute cardiovascular risk factors. Other things are ethnicity. By ethnicity, we simply mean either you're Caucasian or you're Negroid, meaning you're either black or white. Unfortunately, Negroid race is disproportionately affected with cardiovascular disease. And cardiovascular disease actually, as a matter of fact, run an aggressive course in blacks. Now, other modifiable risk factors, like I talked about, things you can do something about, are smoking. History of smoking is significant. Any smoking is important. Now, active smoking, it's important because in itself, it constitutes what will result in cardiovascular disease. Passive smoking, what we call secondhand smoke, confers a 30% risk of cardiovascular disease. Unfortunately, it is too, I keep saying to people, if you smoke, then you've made an informed decision. Now, if you're unfortunate to have a spouse who smokes, or you have the unfortunate incidents of being a bartender, or you have friends you hang around who smoke, but you don't smoke, I think 30% is too expensive to risk, for friendship. For the spouse, I'm not asking for anything. You just have to seek help. Now, high blood pressure is a modifiable risk factor, meaning that there's something you can do about this. And treatment is largely available. Every sort of treatment, whether they be lifestyle modification, medications, and a combination of all of these things. Dyslipidemia, which is cholesterol in abnormal proportions. Cholesterol has 3 fractions. There's the good cholesterol known as the HDL. There's the bad cholesterol known as the LDL. There are other cholesterol fractions known as triglyceride. Now, the bad cholesterol must remain low. The good cholesterol, which is the HDL, must be high. So if you have low good cholesterol, there's a problem. If there is high bad cholesterol, there's a problem. If you have high good cholesterol, but very high bad cholesterol, there's also a problem. That's why we talked about the fact that there may be what we call dyslipidemia. Diabetes mellitus is a significant cardiovascular risk factor. Now, other risk factors are obesity. Once abdominal girth is greater than 95 in females, it's significant for us. Now, there's no question of, I had 6 children, that's why my tummy is so big. We must work our way backwards. That's what to do. In fact, it is said that for males, in a study that was done, if you stand naked in front of a mirror, and then you look down and you can't see your penis, then at that point you are regarded as abdominal obesity. The same thing goes for women. It's pretty significant for us. Now, psychological stress is also an important risk factor. High calorie, high fat diet. And I'm emphasizing this. High calorie, high fat diet. Because many times we listen to many things, but this is pretty important. We'll talk about it. Physical inactivity is also important. Now, what are the other atherosclerotic risks? That's what we call a CV risk assessment. And I'll quickly take you through one. What do? You look at the risk factors, the cholesterol. Do you smoke? Do you have a high blood pressure? Are there influencing risk factors? Are there variables like age? Is there a sex or gender thing? Now, those things are important. We quickly score with what we call the Framingham. I will not bore you, but suffice you to know that if you score greater than or equal to 20% in the risk assessment, then you are at a risk. Now, quickly do an assessment for me. You can do this assessment yourself. Take a look at that slide. Take a look at that. CV risk prevention. There's a column that says, so go to the female column and look at yourself, and do you have diabetes? You don't have diabetes? And then you score. For example, this risk would vary with the color code. if, for example, a patient has a blood pressure, an individual has a blood pressure that is 140, a woman, but she smokes. Can you see that? But she smokes. 140 and she smokes. Now, 140 is not supposed to constitute a nuisance. However, for the person who smokes, what color is on that column? Is it red? Can you see that? Red, yes. 140 and smokes. 140, women, no. 140, not men, and smokes on the right. Could I have that? Thank you. For a woman who is without diabetes, she smokes, and then her blood pressure is 140. At this point, she has an orange-colored thing. Her risk is already 20 to 29%. Now, if you have a woman who doesn't smoke, non-smoker, she has to reach a blood pressure of 160 millimeters of mercury to achieve the same goal. So I'll encourage you, this score chart is everywhere. You can Google it on the internet and do your parameters quickly. Now, I'll quickly touch on this because I'm rounding up. Hypertension is what is written there. Optimal blood pressure is blood pressure less than 120/80. Optimal. Now, normal blood pressure is blood pressure less than 130 and less than 85 for the diastolic. There's what is called the high normal blood pressure, which ranges between 130 and 139, and the 85 to 89 for diastolic. Grade 1 hypertension, now, just what the chart says is what it is. What is new about this entire thing is what we call the high normal. Now, the essence of high normal is so that we can make quick decisions. It's the newest thing on the block for us. Now, the reason is that what you can preempt, you don't have to arrive at. So we now have high normal. So if anyone is here and has hit 140, 90 at some point, that's already hypertension. At that point, we need to do 2 or 3 other readings to be able to certify. But if you have a single blood pressure of 160/100, we don't need a repeat or a prophet to confirm that you are hypertensive. You don't need a second check. Now, other things that occur with high blood pressure is the fact that we have secondary hypertension. Now, don't forget that the secondary hypertension is commoner in ages less than 35 years. Those who have kidney diseases have it. Those who also have diseases that are endocrine, regarding hormones, have it. And those who are on drugs. Many times I ask questions and I say, are you on drugs? And the patient says, no, just multivitamin. But we must realize that drugs, steroids, for example, don't have to be oral steroids. The men take oral steroids as bodybuilders, anabolic steroids, but women do steroids as creams, topicals. Every steroid use eventually gets to the system and will constitute a nuisance. Oral contraceptive pills are important. If you've used them upwards of 10 years, then they could constitute a cardiovascular risk. How about smoking? What do we do? Quickly, I run through the solution. The problem with smoking is that it multiplies the risk of other cardiovascular risk factors. And I'm emphasizing because it's a big deal. When I see patients and I say, you've come to see me, and I say, stop smoking, 50% of the job is done. The other 50, we can walk our way around. Now, the problem with smoking is not just that it's a risk factor in itself. If you already smoke and you have other risk factors, it doesn't add on to one. It doesn't add on as 1 + 1 = 2. It actually multiplies the risk. So if you smoke, one risk factor is multiplied by virtue of that. It also decreases what we call increases ambulatory daytime swings. That's what ambulatory blood pressure means. Meaning there are times when you have shots of blood pressure, dips of blood pressure. Unfortunately, those times when blood pressure skyrockets and dips are the period that constitutes cardiovascular risk factors, and people can have a stroke or a heart attack. Now, even 1 to 5 streaks of cigarettes is harmful. And the key word there is even. So even 1 will already be a problem. Now, the good news here is that if people stop smoking now, as at press time, 10 years afterward, cardiovascular risk is normalized. But it's better still for those who stop before they are 45. Stopping at younger age is associated with increase. I've talked about that. And passive smoking constitutes 30%. There's help. counseling, support, nicotine substitutes, and many things we can do. How about diet? Quickly. Fat. Reduce saturated fats to less than 10% total intake. Replace with polyunsaturated fat, which includes soybean oil, sunflower oil, and monounsaturated fat, which is the best of them. Now, I say this because when we buy products and eat, snacks, anything, there's always a product advice. Those things on the biscuits you buy are not decorative piece. They are product advice. And it's important that we read labels. It's very important. Now, we must also reduce trans fats to less than 1%. Sometimes you see a pack of chips and it says trans fat less than 1%. That thing you can eat. If it doesn't say anything, silence is consent. It means there's something in those products. Omega-3 fatty acid is important. Fish oil, nuts, and these are things that are important to do. Other things, I think this is a skip slide. Other things in the diet are low dairy product, low milk product. The aim is to be healthy. There's what is called the DASH diet. DASH, you can Google it. It stands for Dietary Approach to Stopping Hypertension. What it simply means is that there's a lot of fruit in your diet. And I'll tell you specifics now. The Mediterranean diet, I don't expect you to copy it if you're not from that area. But what it says is that it's rich in grains and fiber. You can also Google that. That would give you other nutrients. I say this to dismiss them. Coffee, tea, cocoa are beneficial in moderate amounts. Avoid excess. And when I say avoid excess, it simply means, how many of us know the English teacup? The English teacup. Very good. English teacup. Very good. Not the mug or the big jug. Yes. 2 English teacup is equivalent to 400 meals a day. If you've done 1 mug, you are done for the whole day. That's what I'm trying to say. So we must do in moderation. Now, unfortunately, soft drinks with sugar, sodas, all of those things, I don't want to mention specifics. I'm not against anyone, but 300 mils of 30 cl, let me bring it home, of sodas, sweet drinks will increase your cardiovascular risk by 20%. So you need to know that you can't love your Coke. You can't. If you love your Coke, then you make an informed decision about loving it. All right. Antioxidants like vitamin A, vitamin E, B6, and B12 are of no cardiovascular benefit. They may benefit you in other things, but for cardiovascular benefit, they have no benefit. What is there to conclude with? All of this, fish oil is a good substitute. It helps. There's also red rice yeast. Weight reduction. How about obesity? What do we do? The main things to do is to realize that this is where BMI is. And I put it in quotation. Many people cannot achieve this, but abdominal girth, you can achieve. Abdominal girth, you can achieve. Now, this is what it should be. You should go home and look at this. This is where we are, sub-Saharan African. This is your statistics. This is yours. Waist, circumference. You all have a tape. Check. This is where you should be. Anything greater than 32 cm is obesity. Now, physical activity, what do you need to do? These are my last 3 slides. Aerobic exercises are good. The key word there is regular. Regular exercises. Now, 2 to 5 hours of exercise is important. I'll tell you what this translates to. 180 minutes of exercise per week is what you need. Bringing it home, if you do 45 minutes every other day, 4 days out of 7 days, you have done well. So you do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Tuesday is a holiday. Thursday is a holiday. What do you need to do? That's the minimum you could do. 3 to 5 days per week. Exercise must be graded to fitness. You can also do your exercises, and it will be, you could do them in quantums. So Monday is your exercise day. You can do 45 minutes to the bus stop while you take a brisk walk. You can do 15 minutes to the bus stop, 15 minutes down the staircase at work. When you come home, you can skip for another 15 minutes. You've done 45 minutes. You owe me nothing that day. The next day is a holiday. Wednesday is another day. So we try to make it practical so that you can actually achieve it. Now, I must say that this is the minimum. If you're here and you're already doing the minimum, it's beautiful. But if you're not doing the minimum, you would, then there's a lot more to do. Thank you for your attention.
Olùtọ́jú obìnrin àti olùtọ́jú lọ́kùnrin wọ́n bá wa sọ ọ̀rọ̀ tó pọ̀ lórí ìlera. Àlàáfíà ṣe pàtàkì torí pé ìlera lọ́rọ̀. Ìlera lọ́rọ̀. Wọ́n ní tá bá ń dàgbà a gbọ́dọ̀ máa kíyèsára lórí àlàáfíà ara wa, iṣẹ́ wa, ìgbéyàwó wa, àwọn ọmọ àti ìṣípòpadà àwọn òbí. Ó jẹ́ àwọn nǹkan tí ẹ̀dá máa ń ronú sí bí ọjọ́ ṣe ń gorí ọjọ́, tí ọdún gorí ọdún. Àwọn ẹ̀dùn ọkàn tó máa ń sábà jẹyọ láti bí 40 ọdún sí 60 ọdún nìwọ̀nyí. Ká máa lé àwọn àfojúsùn tí yóò wá sí ìmúṣẹ. Ká máa kíkàbámọ̀ lórí àwọn ohun tí a ò tí ì rí ṣe. Ìbẹ̀rù àti kéèyàn máa ṣojo lórí ohun tí ayé máa fi bú wọn. Ìrònú lórí pé a fẹ́ dọmọdé padà àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Àwọn ọ̀nà àbáyọ tí Dr. Greg bá wa sọ rèé. Wọ́n ní ká wá àwọn nǹkan tí ó lè máa mú wa tẹ̀síwájú. Ká bá tàrótọ̀dọ̀ fi inú wa sọ̀rọ̀. Ká gbà fọlọ́run pé àgbà ti dé. Ká jẹun tó ní èròjà gidi. Ká dẹ̀ máa ṣe eré ìdárayá lóòrèkóòrè. Wọ́n ṣàlàyé àwọn nǹkan tí ó máa ń ṣe àwọn obìnrin nígbà tí èròjà bá ń dínkù, èròjà ara àti tó bá tún pọ̀ sí náà. Wọ́n wá ní ká máa gbáradì o nítorí pé àgbà máa ń gbà ni. Dókítà fún wa ní àwọn ọ̀nà tí a lè máa fi rí ìtura. Wọ́n ní ká mumi dáadáa, ká jẹ oúnjẹ tó ní èso nínú dáadáa. Wọ́n wá ní pé ká fira wa lọ́kàn balẹ̀, ká má máa kó àyà sókè. Wọ́n á kálẹ̀ fún àyẹ̀wò lóòrèkóòrè láti dènà àrùn jẹjẹrẹ. Àìsàn ò ní ṣe wá, àrùn sì ní gbé wa dé láṣẹ ọba mímọ́. Ìyàwó wọn dókítà Esther náà bá wa sọ̀rọ̀ tó pọ̀. Wọ́n mẹ́nuba àwọn àìsàn kan bí ìfúnpá gíga, ẹ̀jẹ̀ ríru, àrùn kíndìnrín, àìsàn ìtọ̀ ṣúgà. Wọ́n sọ àwọn oúnjẹ tó yẹ ká máa jẹ. Wọ́n sọ èyí tí ó yẹ ká yẹra fún. Pàtàkì bẹ́ẹ̀ jù ni pé kí a múra sí ìlera wa torí pé ìlera lọ́rọ̀. Àkókò sí àbá fọwẹ́wẹ́, àwọn ti fọwẹ́wẹ́ fún wa. Àwọn eré ìdárayá tó yẹ ká máa ṣe àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Ẹ kú kalẹ̀.
Thank you very much, Dr. and Dr. Mrs. Ohioi. Thank you for your wonderful papers. While we are waiting for questions, I'll just put a few highlights. Number one is don't be afraid of aging. Don't be afraid of aging. We have a wisdom group in church that you join at age 50. Many 50-year-olds don't want to join because they say, oh, that's old. Don't be afraid of aging. As you plan for retirement, you plan for aging. And planning for aging is taking care of yourselves right now. Number two is to exercise. In this present modern lifestyle, we have a sort of sedentary lifestyle. Like we've been sitting down all morning now. Try to exercise. Even if it's just walking is a very good form of exercise. If you can do 15 to 30 minutes a day, every day, you improve your physical and mental health. So plan to exercise. Don't just sit down for hours and hours on end. Even if you have to sit down, just for every few hours, walk around and do some exercise and don't just sit down all day long. It's not beneficial for your health. And then we have to watch our diets. We have to watch what we eat. Even as we grow older, this becomes more and more important, as the speakers have told us. And we need to examine ourselves. The examinations are not tedious anymore. Even if and it's not even money-based, because there are so many centers doing free examinations. For instance, right here, across the hall, we have free examinations, free cancer screening, BP, diabetes, everything is free. So there's nothing stopping you. And as women, if once a month we can stand in front of the mirror and see how our breasts look like, feel your breasts. If there's anything unusual, don't wait and say, go and see your doctor. Go and see your doctor immediately. And once we notice anything wrong with our bodies, we should take note of it. Watch your bodies. Be attuned with your bodies. Know what your body. For instance, if a postmenopausal woman starts bleeding, she knows she needs to go and see her doctor immediately. You don't have to wait for any, and you make sure that you go to accredited medical personnel, not just to anybody. Thank you very much. Do we have questions, please? Questions? 2 questions.
My name is Ayekola Bilikis from Lagos State Driver Institute. My questions are 2. The first one, Doctor, is it true that if we don't allow our husband to suck our breast, we are likely to have breast cancer? How true is that? The second question, The second question is that if you have a boss that smokes, he's a chain smoker, and you have to work to take things to him, how do we handle such case since it is hazardous to be in there with him after smoking? Do I have to go to OPD? Thank you.
I'm Kudrat Omalara Dada from Federation of Muslim Women Associations in Nigeria, Form 1. First of all, I want to appreciate the couple. God is showcasing you as a good model. My first question, I have somebody who after examination, she was told that she has unfolded aorta and she's worried about it. Is it manageable, or what advice can you give such person? Number 2, is cholesterol same as fat? Because I know of somebody who is very slim that even the cheeks are not, yet she has a very high cholesterol. So what is it all about? Is it all about fat or?
The last question. Good morning. Dr. Hill, it's good to see both of you. My question is actually on the issue of fibroids. So for women that are hitting menopause, because there's so many different options in treating fibroids, and because of course I'm pro-women preventive medicine anyway, so when I speak to women that are about to hit menopause, the question is always, if you can handle the bleeding, then maybe you shouldn't worry about surgery. If you absolutely cannot handle the bleeding, then you need to find ways to manage the bleeding itself if you don't want to have surgery. So that's one. Number 2, the issue of cardiovascular disease. I know people, lots of people that will stop taking their medication, high blood pressure medication, because they want to manage their own blood pressure. In other words, they will check their blood pressure in the morning and it's normal, and they'll do that for 3 days and they'll stop taking the medicine. And I'm always telling them, you cannot make that decision. Your doctor has to make that decision. So I want you to please emphasize the importance of medication management, also talk about the fibroid. And in terms of breast cancer, I'm a part of a community that deals with preventive measures in breast cancer. And I've had to refer 5 of my classmates because they waited to the last minute, and of course, they died. So we need to really stress the issue of breast cancer in terms of the examination portion of it, and not to be ashamed if you find anything in your breast. Thank you.
Thank you very much for all the brilliant questions. I will just start with the lighter note of breast sucking. Now, breast sucking, like they say about men, they said men will love the breast at birth and will love the breast for life. So it doesn't increase, breast sucking does not have any relationship with breast cancer. As a matter of fact, if there's anything, maybe during breast manipulation by the husband, if you notice any lump, please tell your wife or take your wife to see. I've been in the clinic where the couple come in because the husband during sex noticed some lumps, from the wife, and that's why they came. So if there's any benefit, but unfortunately, during the time of pleasure, nobody notices any lump at that time. That's the unfortunate part. But if somebody is conscious enough or aware enough to notice any lump during breast sucking, it's a good discovery. So for that sake, breast sucking is encouraged. I'm sure the applause is coming more from the men. Anyway, I want to thank my colleague for raising that aspect of breast cancer. Now, the good news about breast cancer is this. The good news about breast cancer is that there's been a lot of research into breast cancer, and now there are a lot of solutions to breast cancer. Like she rightly said, early diagnosis is very important. Early diagnosis is very important. As a matter of fact, there are cases of breast cancer you can actually cure. So you can actually attain cure of breast cancer if you discover early enough. A lot of research, a lot of strategies. In fact, there are drugs you can take now at a very early stage that can lead to cure. So the emphasis, again, like she rightly said, is that we must examine our breast regularly, at least up to once or twice in a month. Then we must attend our annual gynecological exam. That is very, very important. For the sake, it's discussing about uterine fibroids. Now, for uterine fibroids, it's important to know that most cases of care will be individualized. Luckily, there are a lot of solutions now to abnormal uterine bleeding. When women bleed from uterine fibroids, there are a lot of things we can do. A lot of research has gone into it. There are a lot of medications we can take. There are a lot of interventions we can do for them. The most important thing is that we must individualize the care. If a woman is having symptoms from uterine fibroid, many of them will not have symptoms. Those that have symptoms like heavy menstrual bleeding, there are a lot of solutions we can do for them other than surgery. And even when it comes to surgery, there are a lot of less invasive surgeries, less aggressive surgeries we can do now for women with uterine fibroids. So it's important for you, if you have uterine fibroid and you're having symptoms, to see your doctors, preferably a specialist, a gynecologist, who will assess your situation and determine the best care for you, whether to leave you alone and be expectant or to plan some interventions for you. But like I said, when women get to the menopause, fibroid should disappear. Fibroid should stop giving symptoms. Symptoms of fibroid actually reduce at the menopause. Okay, there's one more question here for me. It says, does every lump in breast result in breast cancer? Very good question. No, every lump in breast is not equal to breast cancer. But every lump in the breast is a reason to investigate. Most lumps in the breast, particularly at the earlier ages, most cases of breast cancer occur after 40 years of age. 80% of breast cancer will occur after 40 years of age. So most people that have breast lumps below 40 may not have cancer, but a few of them will have cancer. So breast lump is an indication for more investigation. That breast lump needs to be taken out by biopsy and sent to the laboratory for test to determine the nature of the breast lump, whether it's a breast cancer or a benign type. So breast lump, most breast lumps will be fibroadenoma and they will not be breast cancer. So thank you very much.
I have a few questions here and I'll quickly take them. Thank you for the stimulating questions. It means you like the lecture. Smoking, secondhand smoke, constitutes a 30% risk. So the risk is real. Like I said, if you had a job in a bar, you could quit. If you have a job, friends who smoke, you could opt out. But if you have a spouse, what are you going to do? Now, that spouse needs help for starters. While you are getting help, the wife and the children must not be subjected to the second-hand smoke. So what to do? You must be absent at the point or the venue where your spouse smokes. It's the least you could do for you and the children. And I'm not saying abandon the person. You must seek help. There's help everywhere. If you reach us, we would help. There's help, for those who smoke. Unfolding of the aorta on chest x-ray. Every time you do an x-ray, you see the pattern. What it simply means is that the aorta, which is the big vessel that takes blood out of the heart, is unduly prominent. Now, there are many reasons. One, aging can cause that. But two, and more importantly, it's usually a telltale sign that people may have high blood pressure. So, and three, which is the least of all of them, if, for example, the position you were when you took the x-ray, rotation was inappropriate, it may make it look unduly unusual. But only a doctor will verify that for you. First, they will examine you and see if your blood pressure is high and monitor for a while. Two, they will then look at your age and assess. And thirdly, if they need to repeat that x-ray, they will repeat it. Unless these things are done, you are not supposed to say it's normal. Otherwise, if you are 65 and above or 60 and above, and you have unfolding of the aorta, in the absence of these other things, it shouldn't be consequential. That's for the unfolding. Fat and cholesterol. There is what is known as adipose tissue, which is what we call fat. People interchange them. But the truth is that fat under your skin is not the same thing as cholesterol. So you are correct in your observation, where you find out that people may be really weighty, obese, but they do their cholesterol, and it's extremely normal. Now, cholesterol is a byproduct of body metabolism. What that means is that the fact that you feel well and you are at the correct temperature, we all feel well, body processes are going on. As a result of the body process going on, cholesterol is formed. It's not supposed to be a bad thing. That's the way God has put it. Now, unfortunately, God has put a mechanism in place where the body can use up cholesterol. But when you turn 18 and you're an adult, there's not a lot to do with cholesterol. So cholesterol tends to accumulate. What that means is that the cholesterol usually, that's why in children, if you've wondered, we'll never worry about cholesterol. There's body to build, there's teeth to build, there's hormone to build, all sorts. But for you, it's just repair work that cholesterol does. Now, some people accumulate cholesterol more than others, depending on your genetic makeup. Therefore, cholesterol tends to accumulate. Now, but the truth is that adipose fat, which is under the skin, is not equivalent to cholesterol values. What, therefore, is cholesterol? Is what I just told you about. And if your cholesterol is high, you must get treatment. You must get treatment, as a matter of fact. Finally, somebody talked about BP variation and drugs, and it was a good call. Some people check their blood pressure and they say, my blood pressure is now normal. I go off the drug. They take a drug holiday. BP is a dynamic parameter. What that means is that as we are talking now, my blood pressure is a different figure. You've just woken up from sleep, your blood pressure is you've had a good meal, your blood pressure is a different figure. Now, we don't wear that machine around. We don't wear it. Nobody wears the machine around. Therefore, you don't know. Hypertension, as a matter of fact, is called a silent killer. The reason is because it doesn't have symptoms. By the time it starts to have symptoms, there are already complications. So prevention is what we do. In fact, the way most people are found is incidental. So you come to the clinic for a toothache, somebody knows your blood pressure is high. If your blood pressure is therefore found to be high, you are only fortunate at that point that you are peaked. That's the way we peak most of our patients. It's incidental, it must be there. And drugs must be, again, I emphasize it. You may exercise, you may eat a good diet, you may do fruits and fish diet as recommended, but we do all of them for synergism. Now, the reason is this. Drugs for treating cardiovascular disease have been found to increase life expectancy with the disease and to improve what we call morbidity. So these are important. You don't want to have a stroke before you look back or a heart attack before you look back. I think the heroism is in preventing complications. Thank you.
Sorry, I just got one more question. I'll quickly respond. But the chairman will pass the message across. There are other questions, they can also meet us after. Now, he said, is yearly mammogram not dangerous due to the radiation? The thing about screening is that it's age calibrated. I mean, you don't sell an 18-year-old girl to start doing mammogram. Like I said earlier in my presentation, most cases of breast cancer occur after 40. Over 80% really of breast cancer occur after 40. So only those who have genetic risk of breast cancer, which is 5 to 10%, over 90 to 95% are actually sporadic. Those are the ones that will need probably earlier screening. But overall, mammography is safe, but you must be informed of the right time to commence mammography. Investigations and annual medicals should be calibrated to your age and to your risk factors. And your doctors will be in the best position to advise you on when to start screening and the type of screening to undertake. Thank you very much.